BBC stereophonic sound for the home is recorded on two separate tracks, each one giving special emphasis to certain sections of the orchestra, as heard from those positions. Now, when played back simultaneously on two separate systems, the sounds are blended together to achieve a new dimension in sound impossible to obtain in a monaural recording.
Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Cecil Thomas asking you to vote for Charmaine McGuffey for Sheriff of Hamilton County. As a former police officer, I know Charmaine is the only qualified candidate to be sheriff. She stands with our community and will lead with accountability. Her opponent used excessive force in the killing of an unarmed black man and led the highly controversial Vortex unit. He is the last person we need to lead our sheriff's office. Trust the judgment of someone who knows. Vote Charmaine McGuffey for sheriff, a vote for justice.
This is Charmaine McGuffey asking for your vote. Paid for by people for McGuffey for sheriff.
So many Democrats voting for Charlie Winburn. Democrat Malcolm Timmons.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he is a man that does what he says he's going to do, and he gets things done for our community.
Democrat Nettie Matthews.
Of course I'm voting for my brother Charlie Winburn because he cares about the black community.
Democrat Paul Booth.
I'm voting for my longtime friend Charlie Winburn. He will put people over party.
Democrat Zakiya Allen.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he has a positive track record in our community.
Democrat Charles Wiley.
I am voting for Charlie Winburn because he will be accountable to us.
Democrat Klein Carricker.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he helps to train hundreds of African Americans through his leadership masterclass.
Democrat Jafanya Wynn.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he cares about women with children, providing child care and a school for K through 8th graders.
Democrat T. Renee.
I want to see the first African-American county treasurer elected after 230 years.
Vote Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer.
Paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
You're listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
Yeah, talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand.
I'm back again like flu season, I broke records while
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Nathan Ivey with you, the Nathan Ivey Show. Want to remind you, tomorrow, Sin Digital Media is doing a special Election Day coverage show starting at 4 p.m. I will be your host. We might go from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. I'm prepared. I'm the Iron Man of this. I'll go all day until we get some kind of insight into what's going to happen with the election tomorrow. Looking forward to it. 513-873-7134. Of course, this is an open invitation for you to join that stream. And we should have a lot of fun. I got a lot of things planned. And should be a lot of fun tomorrow starting at 4 p.m. And listen, family, take a second and like today's show, share today's show. When you share the show, quite frankly, more people see it. It's real simple. If you want to share your thoughts this morning, 513-873-7134. Welcome to my home studio. This is where I do what I do every day. This is actually where I live. COVID-19 has changed a lot of things and really has brought some more things into focus. I love it. We're living in amazing days and times. If you forgot to set your clock back, if you're like, why is it so light outside? Typically at this time of the day when Nate is on, it's dark. Well, you know, it's daylight savings time. You set your clocks backwards. Now it'll be light in the morning, which means no excuses for getting up early, getting that workout in. Why is that important? So you don't have one of these. I do this every single week now. You know, this is how I manage all the stuff I got to take because of what happened to me back on February 2nd. Be better than your boy, Nate Ivey. Be better than me. Be smart. Be smart. Take care of your body right now. Good morning, early risers. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. It's a beautiful day in Mr. Ivey's neighborhood. Please like and share today's stream. I'll say it again. When you share the show, more people see it. I see the Choppers in the house. Good morning to you, Choppers. Good morning to you. We're up on Facebook. Hey, good morning, everybody. Brandon Rice, good morning, folks. Yeah, good morning to you. Sean Rice, good morning. Hey, Mary's in the house. What's up, Mary? Hey, Mary, I want to catch up with you, actually. I want to catch up with you. Andrielle writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. She writes, vote. Absolutely. Get your vote on. And it leads me to what I envision at this point, because every show has its own life. But what I like to talk to you about this morning, at least for the first hour, is what do you think is going to happen tomorrow on Election Day? What do you think? And here's what I mean. Do you foresee violence? Let's get straight to it. Do you foresee, minor skirmishes between Trump supporters and Biden supporters? The Proud Boys have said that if Biden loses, that they ready. Trump said, stay ready and stay on guard, basically. And we know what happened at a recent Joe Biden rally. Well, it was going to be a Joe Biden rally and function, and then they actually ended up canceling because of the threat of violence. So I'd like to get your thoughts about that. What are your plans for Election Day? Or how many people are waiting to vote on Election Day? I'd like to get your thoughts this morning. How many people are waiting to vote on Election Day? If you're waiting to vote on Election Day, give me a call or leave a comment. I'd like to get your thoughts on it. Why? How many people are voting today? How many people are waiting to Election Day? And what do you think is going to happen? Have you heard the latest from the Trump campaign in terms of what it looks like their strategy might be for Election Day? If you have not, stay connected. I'll share with you in just a couple of moments. 513-873-7134. Now, if you missed it, family, I want you to circle back around, go to Send Digital Media on Facebook, and check out some of the podcasts and live streams that we're providing. Again, CDM's mission is simple. Amplify Black voices. That's the mission. 3 words. Amplify Black voices. Very, very simple. I want you to check out the Is It Just Me podcast with Donnie B on Friday. She had a really good conversation about numerous things, including the Our Black Party, which is just started by P. Diddy. Now, on tomorrow's live stream that starts at 4 p.m., and again, if you're just tuning in and you missed it, CDM is hosting an election push and watch party starting at 4 p.m. tomorrow. I want you to be a part of it. And if you're going to be in line at wherever you're going to be voting with, and it's going to be after 4 p.m., maybe you get off work, well, you can turn us on your phone and check out what's going on. I'll be giving you live updates locally, regionally, nationally, and perhaps we'll have a lot more as well. I don't want to say too much at this point. I'll share with you tomorrow on tomorrow's show once things get confirmed, but I'm looking forward to it. And as the Iron Man of talk radio, I'm prepared to go for 12 hours. I'm built like that. Let's do it. I want to give you exclusive coverage and a platform to talk about it throughout the entirety of what's going on. So I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. And I'll be resting up today, getting my Rocky on today, probably going to bed a lot earlier than I usually do later on today to get prepared for the big election show tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Now, again, no one should be surprised I'm doing this because I hosted an election watch party through all of the presidential debates. It just kind of makes sense. So looking forward. Some of you might have been a part of those live streams. We had a lot of fun. In those cases, it was a lot more about the debate and less about commentary. I chimed in here or there, but I wanted to make sure you got a chance to get a sense of what was happening in terms of the debate. Tomorrow may be a little bit different because you're not going to have sort of like a debate in the background. We'll get a chance to chop it up as things are coming in and also pushing people because there's a lot of people who are registered who don't vote in every election. There are a lot of people who are registered and don't vote. They sit by. There are people right now who are registered and they're like, registered, smagistered, right? I ain't voting. Why'd you register? Well, maybe we can convince them tomorrow with our push party. So again, that's at 4 p.m. live on Facebook and other platforms. I'll tell you more about it tomorrow. Again, 513-873-7134 if you'd like to share your thoughts. That's just the tip of the iceberg, family. I come prepared to talk about people, politics, and pleasure in general, and there is a lot going on. Now, in terms of voting, the wifey and I voted together on Saturday over at the Board of Election. And I'll be honest with you, man, when I walked in there, I told her that, you know, it was a hot box for COVID. You know what I'm saying? You had all them people that was in that room over at the Board of Election and breathing, but we were in and out. The line, man, it seemed like you was going to be in line forever. And I'll be honest with you, when we voted in the primary, it seemed like it took a lot longer. But I think that the Hamilton County Board of Elections, shout out to them, have been, at least from my experience, they've done a good job of making sure there were enough polling places It seemed like it was all well organized. I was only there for a short time. Man, listen, I don't even know how to describe to you, but let's just say we were around the block of the building that's next to where you actually voted early on Saturday. Around the next building over, around the block and around the corner on the other side of it. We were on the complete other side of that shopping or that complex over there. And I mean, it must have took us 15 minutes. Now, we would have to get in front of this man. It was a man of color. We'll say a black dude. Standing, all these people in line. Me and the wife in line, we masked up as responsible human beings because, you know, COVID is running rampant. If you allowed your kid to go out and trick or treat, you're an irresponsible parent. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that right now. If you allowed your kid to trick or treat and knock on strangers' doors, you are an irresponsible parent, period, point blank, period. Trick or treating is not that damn serious to allow your kids to go getting candy during a pandemic in which the pandemic can be spread not just from, you know, your breathing, but also direct contact with objects that infected people have had in their hands. Now, why would you do this? I don't understand it. I seen an article in local media, I think it was the Inquirer, and the headline was, I even screenshotted it. It was just so crazy. The headline was something crazy like, it was something stupid crazy like, is it safe to trick or treat this year? No, hell no, it's not safe to trick or treat this year. It ain't safe. How could it be safe to trick or treat this year? Let me see if I can find this. How could it possibly be safe to trick or treat this year? It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Is it safe to trick or treat this year? No, mofo, it's not. It's not safe to do anything this year, quite honestly. To be real with you, it ain't safe to do a damn thing this year, but we doing it anyway. So what do? I'm not really into the whole Halloween thing, but I'm a grown person. Even as a kid, I'll be honest with you. I mean, getting free candy and treats is always cool for kids. I loved it. But as I got older, man, I grew out of the whole trick or treat thing real quick because, you know, if there's because I like to do what I like to do. I like to eat what I like to eat. So I'm not really into candy. I don't have any sugar in my diet now, but you know, when I was into candy as a young, like maybe in like my preteen years or as a kid, I wanted to eat the candy that I wanted. Like back then, I liked Snickers. I don't want a whole bunch of Tootsie Rolls. I don't want a whole bunch of dumb ish that I don't want to eat. I want exactly what I want when I want it. So I never really, as I got older, the whole free candy thing, I got over real quick because I'm like, I got a whole big bag of ish I don't want. I'll just stack my chips and go get the candy that I really want. So that's just me. So as an adult, having children now, one is 5, the other is 15. Yeah, I know, a 10-year gap. I know. You know, I can get into them. So we bought our son a whole bunch of masks of some of his favorite superheroes. He had to have Black Panther. You already know that. No matter what superhero he gets, I'm like, oh, you're the Black Flash, right? Oh, you're Black Batman. Oh, you're the Black Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. That's just me as a Black father, right? Trying to make him know who he is and what's really important. Black people can be superheroes as well. So seeing his energy, we did like a little Halloween thing inside the house where we hid some candy and they went inside the house. They weren't leaving the house to go get no goddamn candy. And nobody was coming over here to drop off any candy. It's a damn pandemic. I wish one of my family members would have came over here and knocked on this door when we dropping off some candy. They could have. I would have told them about themselves and it would have stayed outside. And we've done that already. Like, oh, that's going to stay outside a little bit. And then we're going to disinfect it and it's going to stay outside before we bring it into the house. It is what it is, family. I'm just being honest with you. So that's what we did. I mean, we did some stuff at home. I know it's a lot of responsible people did the same thing. Props to you. Irresponsible parents, you let your kids go trick or treat. Trick or treat during a damn pandemic. I don't get it. 513-873-7134. I just don't understand it, family. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I don't get it. Please like and share today's show. Your shares mean everything. Also, check out the Dope Chicks Collective. They had a really, really dope conversation with a woman named Rosemary. Again, I wasn't aware of her. And she's a local entrepreneur and the founder of a nonprofit. It was a really, really good conversation for those who might be thinking about profit or no profit. Check out the Dope Chicks Collective podcast. That's what happened over the weekend. Of course, you can check out Midday Juice also valet service, and more to follow. We're just getting started. We're just getting started. We're just getting started. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. But let me circle back around. What do you think is going to happen on Election Day? 2020 has been crazy. This ain't been no normal year. This ain't been no normal year. Pandemic, Kobe Bryant. We found over the weekend, Sean Connery, 90 years old. He lived a good life, though, man. 90? Man, we should all be so lucky to get to 90 and have a good, healthy life. That's great. That's great. R.I.P. to the original James Bond. They need a black James Bond. I mean, James Bond is cool and all until you get old enough to realize the motif of the white Tarzan. I mean, if you really think about it, and this has nothing negative to say about Sean Connery, because he's just an actor, right? If you're an actor, what do you want to do? You want to act and get paid for it. But the whole James Bond thing in our culture is really a continuation of the Tarzan motif, right? The whole Star Trek, William Shatner motif, the idea that this one white dude is the master of any situation, right? It don't matter what he's dealing with. This white dude's going to come out on top, like James Bond always did. Man, I watch these James Bond movies. Man, he be up against the illest criminal masterminds in human history and come out on top and get the honey at the same time. Just like Tarzan, just like Captain Kirk, right? Like, as a child or as a younger person, you just don't know what you're looking at. But as you get older and you start to realize, like, wait a minute, why do we keep seeing the same themes over and over again? It's the white male. It reigns supreme in every situation, right? You start to understand that it's the cultural supremacy, white cultural supremacy, right? Let's call it what it is. You know damn well some of them villains should have killed James Bond many, many times. Man, could stop it. Captain Kirk can go to any universe, any planet universe, grabbing honeys, grabbing, Martian honeys, grabbing honeys from universes that I can't even remember or pronounce, and come out on top no matter what the technological, opponent has. Stop it. We see you, white folks. Stop it. James Bond was no different. We see you. I know the whites. It's what Dave Chappelle said. Which, by the way, the Dave Chappelle show is coming to Netflix. And Netflix is going to be increasing their premium subscription prices by like $1 or $2, depending on your plan. So just get ready for that. The Dave Chappelle show is so classic, y'all, that, man, we'll be watching those reruns and laughing at it from now to the day we die. I didn't think I could get into it, but I think at some point Comedy Central, and I don't have cable anymore, they were like playing some of the reruns. They might still be doing it, but I don't know. And it's just amazing how you can just fall right back into it and watch it like if it's the first time. That Prince skit, classic, man. Prince is playing basketball, classic. The Blind Racist, classic, man. Classic. It's coming to Netflix. Broadway Flow writes, vote Charlie Winburn for treasurer. Anyway, #alt-middle when only the best will do. The one thing I'll say about Charlie Winburn is that man has run a hell of a campaign. That's all I can say. That man has won you can't get away from his ads. You can't get away from him. Now that's how you run a campaign right there. I'm taking notes. Take notes for all those folks out there that want to run. Take notes. And don't overlook the digital space. I'll say it up front, too many candidates overlook platforms like this. Hopefully, these are people that I want to win. But it is what it is. You just don't know. CDM has reached into the multiple hundreds of thousands of people just from our Facebook page over these last 3 months. No lie, no cap. It is what it is. I mean, I'm here. We here. This is coming upon you to make them steps, homie. Smart people leave no stone unturned. They don't take anything for granted. That's what smart people do. It is what it is. I said my piece. Tracy writes, hi. Brother Mazone writes, good morning, Choppers. Broadway Flow, I think I read that already. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Welcome to the first week of November, the day before Election Day. Yes, it is. We made it. We only got 2 months left in 2020. What in the hell is going to happen between now and then? Earthquake? It might happen tomorrow, which leads me back to my question for the first hour. What do you think? What do you anticipate will happen tomorrow? Will it just be a normal election day? These some of these, these militia groups, these hardcore, radical people on whatever side, both the left and the right, might be cooking up something. We know that the FBI stopped the plot. We know there have been, threats against the governor in Ohio. We know that. What are these radical individuals in the left and the right planning for election day? Or will it just be like any other election day? You go vote, you go home, you wait for the election returns. Now, realistically, like I'll be honest with you, we may not know the results until it depends. It depends on how close it is. We may not know the results until later this week or maybe even to next week. As they're counting maybe provisional ballots, we may not know. Or the margin of victory in the counted ballots could be so high that the smart people that do this kind of stuff might predict that, hey, they can predict a winner one way or the other. Did you hear what some of Trump's media surrogates are saying right now? Have you heard this, Ish? These fools out here talking about, we anticipate being up by so much that Trump might declare victory tomorrow night. Now, Trump don't give a damn. We know that. Drop likes to call him the first gangster president, but the reality is he's the first con artist and criminal president. Well, not really the first. He's the current. So Trump is willing to win no matter what. That's what the signals he's coming out there. It might not be a peaceful transfer of power, and it depends on whether he thinks it's fair or not in terms of mail-in ballots. Meanwhile, you got multiple states in which they've been doing mail-in ballots for years. You got Trump himself has voted with a mail-in ballot, but all of a sudden, when it looks like he might lose, mail-in ballots are a bad thing. They're inherently corrupt. Even in states like Ohio, where you have Republicans in control of the electoral process, just so you know that. The Secretary of State is a Republican. The Secretary of State is in control of the execution of the electoral process. That's similar in a lot of states in the union. But somehow these Republicans are going to bake in some kind of something in the system that's going to damage the leader of their party. That don't make any sense, yo. What makes much more sense is, Trump is trying to set the table for him to do what he wants to do. Simple as that. What do you think will happen? 513-873-7134. If anything. A little bit of local news here. I've been reading that, there's a mask mandate, right? And I'm reading that there's been thousands of complaints. Thousands of complaints, but no real consequences. I want you to say this again. And see, it really does underscore, because there were even black people, and I couldn't believe it. There were black people arguing with me that this black man, remember the brother Rashawn Davis had did something wrong. I had to argue with these smart, intelligent black people and let them know that it was absolutely ridiculous. Now maybe they've come around to it. So you had this brother, man, at the beginning of COVID-19, who had a coronavirus party. This man spent 11 days in jail and was charged with a felony by Joe Dieters, who, by the way, has to go. Joe Dieters has to go. If you're serious about moving Hamilton County forward, then everybody knows that Joe Dieters has to go. There's a long list, and somewhere near the top is that the man couldn't even think about the quality of the prosecution during the Sam DuBose trial. The man couldn't even get a conviction, and you had it on tape. He put together a piss poor prosecution, him and his whole team. You can't even come through when we need you to come through. I mean, there's a long list of things. A vote for Joe Dieters, in my humble opinion, is a vote for the status quo. How has the status quo served us? I've seen some of his campaign commercials, and I'll be honest with you, they're just straight up lies. I know them to be lies because I moderated the NAACP forum, and the brother Fanon Rucker was there. He said it unequivocally. I do not support the defund police movement. He don't support it. Meanwhile, you got all these lies out here about how, he took money from people that said they had a flag in their hand that read defund. What the hell? I saw that Joe Dieters tweeted this the other day. I had to tweet him like, man, this ain't true. You telling straight up lies, Joe Dieters. Joe Dieters couldn't even come to the NAACP forum. He couldn't even come to black folks and talk with us. But yet, he'll lock your black ass up in a second and then go hold a press conference if it benefits him during an election year. Meanwhile, we got a mask mandate and nobody's being enforced. Nothing's being enforced about it from what I'm reading. There's very few consequences for businesses even that are flouting the mask mandate. I'll be honest with you. If I walk into a business and there's somebody in there without a mask on, I'm looking for the business owner or somebody in there to tell them. Because if not, I'm out the door. I can't give you my bill. I can't trust you. You're a health risk. If you're flouting that, if you're cutting corners on that, then what else are you cutting corners on? Simple as that. This is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. During a pandemic, when the numbers in Hamilton County are going way up, they're going higher and higher. We're setting records every day in Hamilton County. We're setting records every day in Hamilton County. Every single day. I don't get it. Now, there's been a couple of places throughout the state of Ohio where, the state has revoked their liquor license, but not enough. Not enough, in my opinion. And that's because the health department, which is put in charge with it, they don't have enough resources to really enforce this. They don't get no damn resources for that. I mean, they were, as I told you before, the health department in Hamilton County was struggling to keep up with health violations before the pandemic. They publicized this information and made it public, man. It's a who's who on the list in terms of having health inspection violations. They couldn't even stay up on that. Now, how are they going to stay up on the health violations, health inspection violations, and be the mask police? Can't do it. It's impossible. It can't be done. I'm sorry. It cannot be done. Brother Mazone writes, this election will be the barometer of Black America. This election will be the barometer of Black America. Hey, Carla, she writes, good morning, Choppers. This election will be the barometer of Black America. See, I don't think that's true. And the reason why I say that is because, to my opinion, and again, there are agendas out there, props to what Puffy is doing, P. Diddy. It's never too late, generally speaking, but in terms of this election, the Our Black Party is going to have no impact on what happens in this election whatsoever. I mean, he just started and announced it in the last couple of weeks. But looking forward, like projecting 4 years from now, I can see Ice Cube. I'd love to see Ice Cube and P. Diddy team up. You know what I'm saying? I love to see Black people working together. And I'll be honest with you, in this city, some people are black folks will work with you. Some people, not so much. But, that'd be dope, I think. I think that'd be very, very powerful. So since you brought that up, let me talk about the Our Black Party. And I respect what P. Diddy is doing. If you remember, even before he announced it, I came on the air and said, listen, I mean, somebody like P. Diddy has the resources and the platform to really push something like that. I had no idea he was planning on it. But I was just thinking about just looking at him from the outside looking in. Remember Vote or Die? Yeah, I was really upset with P. Diddy when he stopped and dropped that whole Vote or Die campaign. I thought it made a lot of sense. He just dropped it, just inexplicably, just dropped it. I couldn't understand it. So I'm glad to see something like P. Diddy's in the game. The difference between P. Diddy and Ice Cube, and there are differences in my opinion. Oh, yeah, I've got something going on tomorrow on the 4th. I'll tell you about it later in the show. But on the 4th, we're going to end the show just a little bit early. And I may come back just to give you some analysis during the day. I'll do it live from CDM, that's Syndicate Media's Facebook page. But the difference between P. Diddy and Ice Cube, and there are differences. Like both of these brothers are celebrities. Both of these brothers, can get national attention. Both of these brothers are promoting a Black agenda, but their approach has been different. The one thing that I like about P. Diddy is that P. Diddy ain't acting like nobody out here has been working on this before him. I appreciate that. Because to me, it's another level of the whole crab in the barrel type of syndrome. People might agree or disagree. That's how I look at it. And what I mean is, if you see some brothers and sisters out here that's already doing something, you might have a bigger name. You might be able to do it, but it doesn't mean you should do it. So for instance, like, I thought that Ice Cube, this is just my opinion, I thought that when we first heard him put it out there, I thought that, at least in what he was saying, that I heard him say, it was a bit ignorant to what people had already been doing years before him. And when I went to the Our Black Party website, what I saw is that P. Diddy linked up with some folks that's already been out here doing it. I've been shouting these folks out because they created a national black agenda already. To me, that makes a lot more sense. Like, why would you put train tracks where there's already train tracks? It doesn't mean you can't enhance it or infuse it or buttress it or amplify it. But I mean, Kimmy, it's just another form of a crab in the barrel syndrome when you're going to act like, oh, I'm the first person to do this. You're not the first person to do this. And then secondly, and we'll see what happens, because there are some similarities here, but secondly, I just felt like it was still it was a misstep. That's it. It was too late in the game to play the hand that Ice Cube played. The whole, I'm going to have a meeting. You're 2 weeks before the election, and you playing the I'm going to have a meeting hand. That ain't the right time to play that hand. I'm not saying that hand shouldn't be played, but that ain't the time to play that hand. So we'll see what happens. I love to see these brothers come together to form a coalition. That would be super dope right there. And I think it'd be far more effective. Because what you got to understand is that the powers that be that want to stop black people from getting equity, policy, intangibles, they'll use these two brothers against one another for their benefit to stop it all. That's how the game is played. You negotiating with one person, with one group, another group comes in here like, hey, we're going to do the same thing. Well, if the person you negotiated with, let's say the Trump administration, really ain't feeling it, well, they can play you both against each other. You know what I'm saying? Don't allow yourself to happen like that. Don't allow that to happen. So I love to see them two brothers come together. I disagree with you, Mazone, because there's no real national agenda that the majority of black people are really behind. You know what I'm saying? And until you get something like that, it's hard to say there's a real referendum in any election. I'm not sure what this election is really going to say, quite honestly, because to me, there's an obvious choice. You know, I hear people going on about, oh, I'm going to hold my nose. And if you got to hold your nose and vote for Joe or whatever you got to do, I understand it. But for me, it ain't even a choice. There's really no conversation, in my opinion, in terms of who is better for working class Americans, i.e., who is better for black American. That depends. You know, I know some folks that's got money, some black men who got money. They've told me on the low, like, well, Nate, you know, Trump's policies actually benefit me. But their financial experience is an outlier to the general black population. So we can't go with that. I mean, do what you got to do as an individual. But if you're one of them black folks that's in a different tax bracket, you got to be conscious of the fact that your reality is different than the large majority of black folks. You got to be conscious of that. And if you're not, then you're not. But I'm just saying. I mean, you got to vote your individual rights, but I think there should be some collectivity to it as well. Just in my personal opinion, I just feel that way. And if I was in a higher tax bracket, I feel the same way. I feel the same way because to me, I judge success differently than maybe somebody else would. I hear people like, oh, man, I made it. Okay, well, you made it. But like I said, if the folks around me ain't eating right, if mom ain't right, brothers and sisters ain't right, if the block ain't right, then how am I right? That's how I look at it. You know, stop me if I'm wrong on that. 513-873-7134. That's just how I look at it. People say, well, Nate, if you was there, trust me, man, you don't know my pockets. I know me better than you do. Trust me when I say that. Again, 513-873-7134 if you like to share your thoughts. And I disagree with that, Brother Mazone. I don't think it's going to be a barometer of black America. I think there's a lot at stake for black America. I really do. There's a whole lot at stake for working class folks and black Americans in particular. There's a whole lot at stake. Pat writes, good morning. Mike123 writes, good morning. Sister Iris is in the house. She writes, good morning, great people. Broadway Flo writes, the amount of Trump flags flying in rotten New York is crazy. Imagine if New York got flipped. Well, like I said, there's a lot of people that's doing well financially. At least they say they're doing well under Trump. And there's a lot of people that find comfort in Trump's xenophobic policies, his subtly racist policies. They love it. And there's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of fear that if you vote for the Democrats locally or regionally or nationally, that they're gonna open the door for Antifa. Oh, they're gonna open the door for Antifa. Don't let it happen. Oh, you don't want to. Most people don't even know what the hell Antifa stands for. They have no idea. Oh, Black Lives Matter is gonna take over. They're gonna take over. Oh man. And again, there's a lot of people who are very, very emotional about Trump. They love Trump. Trump they feel very deeply associated and connected with Trump. We can't overlook that. It's real easy to say, oh, these people are whatever. These people are the same as us. Or as Joe Biden supporters. They just feel differently. Here's a video right here I want to play for you. You got to check this out. This guy gets emotional for Trump. Check this out.
I think he's the greatest president we've ever had. I'm too emotional. But I'm really thankful that I've been invited here. So,
tell me what makes you emotional about the president?
What he's done for the country, all his policy changes, what he's done for Black and Brown Americans, and what he's done for Hispanic people. And this, I'm trying to think. And we have Colombians, we have Venezuelans, we have Cubans that have come here from their socialist country and now live in Florida, and they're for Trump. We have all these states that are open, and some of these states that aren't open, I don't understand why. The COVID figures they're projecting right now, in my opinion, are a hoax. They're not as high as they are. The media is being false, and our Father who art in heaven is very angry with the media. He's very angry with Biden and Kamala Harris. They're for abortions up to 9 months. When a baby's born alive, it's either left to die or they kill it and they use its parts. They're going to hell, and they're going to have to ask forgiveness for that. If they don't, they're going to hell. I've asked the Holy Spirit, I've asked the angels to take them, have Satan give them a tour of hell, and I'm hoping it happens soon.
What is it that brings you out here tonight, ma'am?
I just believe in America, and I think Trump is the president, so.
Well, I think that Trump has really been a great leader, and his policies are really great. What else? I like him. I think he's just a strong person. I think his foreign policies have really been great, the things that he's done overseas.
We want safety to come back to our cities and to our countries. It's a free-for-all right now. And, we want things to improve. We don't need a lockdown from coronavirus. Kids need to be back in school, and Trump understands that.
Trump's not a politician. He's good for our country, definitely. Just not a politician. And no one understands that.
And he's good for the military.
Pardon?
He's good for the military.
Oh, yes, and he's definitely good for the military.
Okay.
Definitely has been, and will be stronger.
What does bring you out tonight?
Love of my country.
And what about Eric Trump, Donald Trump, and the presidency excites you?
I think they've got a lot of what we need, and I can't see anybody else doing this at this point in time. I think it's an all-out effort, and I'm proud and I'm thrilled, and it's a ray of hope.
We want to support him. We feel like he's been given a really bad rap unfairly, and he's done so much for America and the American people. We want to support him any way we can.
Dude was crying for Trump. He was weeping for Trump. I said, he's my president. Well, it's a mixed bag of what you just saw there. Some of those people are just straight up sheeple. The sheeple. Some people are led by strong personalities. If you're someone and you exhibit a strong, forceful personality, there's some people that want to get behind that. Like, yeah, they want to be in that shadow. They want to be led. We know these people out here, but remember Jamestown? Remember Jim Jones? Remember this dude? He took these people, to now been corrected, South America? Yeah, follow me to the People's Church. Yeah, drink this. We're going to go meet God together. Doesn't matter what the media says. Trump has these people in their pocket. He's got an explanation for everything. He's not lying. It's fake news. He didn't say that about the military. It's fake news, right? How is a non-black man going to talk about how Trump policies have been good for black people with any level of credibility? Where do they do that at? I think black people should speak on whether Trump policies have been good for black people, in my opinion. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. Dale writes, you must have listened to Dr. Carter's weekend talking Ian Fleming's James Bond. Dr. Carr is fire. I did not. No. I mean, those are old flows, quite honestly, man. I mean, that's just an observation that's just, I've talked about that for years, man. Years. This whole cultural supremacy thing. James Bond is just the latest iteration of the white male that dominates our culture. Man, when I was younger, man, I got into the James Bond movies. Yeah, it was cool with me. He's a hero, but as you get older and you start to see it for what it is, it's like, why do we continually see the same motif being played out over and over again? The white guy that wins in any situation and also is grabbing honeys along the way. Again, you Tarzan. Who the hell wrote Tarzan? Some white dude, an English abandoned baby. Get this straight. An English abandoned baby in the deep, deep jungle in the continent of Africa is going to rise to supremacy and lord over everything in the continent of Africa. Now, if that's not cultural white supremacy, I don't know what the is. Star Trek. Captain James T. Kirk leads his crew into the outer recesses of the universe. And no matter what he comes up against, he prevails, and he's grabbing interstellar honeys along the way. Where did he do that at? That's not my reality. The fuck? Get out of here with that nonsense. So you got to see it for what it really is. Shanna writes, I'm not worried about election day. I'm more concerned about what's going to happen on the 3rd if things don't go as planned. People stand down, but stand by. We'll see. She said, I ain't worried about election day. That would be the 4th because election day is the 3rd. So she said she's worried about the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. We'll see. What do you think? My opinion is I really don't know. My approach is to, I'm going to tell you what my approach is. My approach is to make sure that we have everything in our home that we need to get us by for at least a week or two. Go to the grocery store today if you haven't already done it. Stock up today just to make sure. Hopefully you got your generator game together. Hopefully you got your personal firearm game together. Hopefully all that's in place. You never know what might happen. We never know. It's 2020. I can't call it one way or the other. I will say don't let this stop you from voting today and tomorrow. I will say that. Because that's what these mofos want you to do. They want you to be so afraid that you don't want to stand in line. I would not be surprised if we see some incidences of violence somewhere in the country. I'm just going to be straight with you. I won't be surprised if we see instances of voter intimidation. We just saw it at the Biden, what was supposed to be a campaign rally. You had a Trump caravan that was using vehicles to intimidate the Biden, transport. Joe Biden actually canceled, which, if he felt like it was security reasons, for me, I'm like, I don't want to give into it. I don't want to give them the satisfaction to think they can stop what I'm doing. So I'm going to do my ish anyway. That would have been my first reaction if I'm Joe Biden, but I don't know what information they were given. Brandon writes, good morning, folks. I think I said it already. Kelly's in the house. She writes, good morning. Dale writes, good morning. Dale writes, things are getting crazy out in the streets. Are they? Some places of the country, yeah, they got some skirmishes. The culture wars, the ideological wars, you got some skirmishes. I seen some videos. I seen a video of an Antifa, a man that was associated with Antifa, who literally punched out the front 2 teeth of some dude, some Trump supporter. Tried to knock him straight out like Tank did over the weekend. You see that knockout? Knockout. Arnell Ray was like Mike Tyson's boxing, right? Crumble dude with an uppercut. Arnell writes, Grand Risings, Nate and the Choppers. Cruther writes, good morning, Choppers. Hey, Ebony's in the house. She writes, good morning. Hey, good to see you, Ebony. We still had to connect, actually. Want to know what's going on down in Louisville. Alicia writes, I've heard of discussion of peaceful transfer of power, but not anything about peaceful retention of power. Are people mentally prepared for 4 more years of Trump? I mean, we'll see what's going to happen. We'll see what's going to happen. Will the Supreme Court play a role? Like I said, it's a big question mark. We have no idea. We got no idea. Anthony writes, morning, Chop Shop. Good to see you. Sister Iris is in on Facebook. She writes, good morning, good people. Brandon writes, I see violence somewhere. Did y'all see what happened in Fort Worth when Mags tried to enter with police escort? Man, I've seen so many videos. I've seen the dude that was, he had his GoPro. He was riding his vehicle, and it seemed like he was just going to run down some Biden supporters. It looked like police had to intervene. Brandon writes, already voted. I don't have time for the MAGA idiots. I'm going to get violent right back. So it was better for me to vote early. I'm with you on that. Got to get the green organic tea in this morning. Brenda writes, good morning. Solvent to Freedom writes, good morning, Nathan. ABD, folks. She writes, good morning, good people. Brent writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Checking in from Dallas, Texas. Good to see you. KR Mitchell writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Danita writes, good morning, everyone. May we all have a marvelous Monday. Thank you for that. Letty writes, Grand Risings, Nathan Ivey and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Brent writes, Snickers is the best, Nate. I remember getting the full-size bars when I was a child. Nothing, little fun size. Yeah, I mean, I was just saying I wasn't really into trick-or-treating as I became an older child because I got a big bag of stuff that I didn't really want. And so as I got older, I was like, wait a minute. I'll just buy what I want. You know what I'm saying? I'm like that to this day. I don't want a whole bunch of free shit that I don't want. I only want what I want. That's it. Nothing else will do. Florida writes, good morning, Mr. Ivy and the Choppers. Another beautiful and blessed day. Get out and vote tomorrow. Absolutely. Get it in. Brent writes, there's enough video to get all of the license plate numbers involved. There should be federal prosecution, but it may have to wait until after the election of a new president. Angela writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Good morning to you. Brandon writes, we need a black Kirk. Well, as the years went on over the last, I say 20 years ago, because I'm into sci-fi, so I follow some of these things. There was at least one Star Trek series, I believe it was called Deep Space Nine. So that in Deep Space, you know, the galactic empire, whatever it was called, that was the military, you know, umbrella under which the Enterprise and all of those shows existed. There was a black dude who was like the captain of Deep Space Nine. And, you know, he would come out on top and fight the good fight and all that kind of stuff. But that was like, I don't know, maybe within the last 15, 20 years, if I remember correctly. I'm not worried about election day. I think I read that already. Captain Kirk didn't discriminate. Black, white, Puerto Rican, and Vulcan. Right. Puerto Rican, Vulcan, Martian. You know, the names of these fictional races and species that I can't even pronounce. You know what I'm saying? The bug-eyed people. He was pulling honeys all over the universe. Yeah, sure he was. Yeah, sure he was. Jermaine writes, LOL. Kelly Prather's in the house. She writes, good morning, great people. She's actually running for Cincinnati City Mayor or the mayor of Cincinnati. That's going to be an interesting primary. It's going to be a very interesting primary coming up. What would it be, like March of next year? Nat writes, good morning, Facebook Choppers. Good morning to you. Cleopatra Jones writes, peace, love, and light. Nathan Ivey and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Shanna writes, I'm not worried about what I think I read that already. Angela writes, I still watch Dave Chappelle. He tells the truth. I love his stand-ups. Love him. Absolutely. Kelly writes, to date, 80 million people have voted. Is that right? Jermaine writes, I love Charlie Winburn. I was just giving him props on the campaign he's ran. I mean, here in Cincinnati, I can't get away from it. I'm on the interstate, I see Charlie Winburn. I'm driving up Reading Road, I see Charlie Winburn. You turn on the radio, you hear Charlie Winburn. You turn on digital media, you turn on this show, you hear Charlie Winburn. Great campaign. Great campaign. He understands the multiplier effect. Not all politicians do. It's a whole nother world. If you're running if you are a candidate, you need to understand the multiplier effect and how digital media can help to multiply your message. I'll say it again. I have tried to reach out to people and explain that to them. And, it is what it is. Fast Pitch writes, good morning, all except K's and D's. That's Karen and Darren's. I'm 9 days away from turning $50. If I'm blessed to see it, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful milestone. And good morning to you, Fast Pitch. Good to see you, as always. Dill writes, check out Twitter and cable news. I don't live in Cincinnati, but local news is late on covering things around the country. I'll be plugged in to various sources tomorrow, starting at 4 p.m. Angela writes, protect yourself by any means necessary is my motto. Absolutely. Angelo writes, good morning. I honestly think there will be some type of war or some type of violent occurrence. Do you? Do you? I will say this. I will say that it would not surprise me if we see confrontations, if we see violence on some smaller scale. I don't anticipate anything bigger than that. Not on election day. Now, the day after the election, when the election numbers come in, like when we actually get a result, you never know how either side is going to react. I hear more intimidation. I see more intimidation and threats of violence coming from Trump supporters than I do Biden supporters. That's just me. So my guess tells me that if it's going to happen from any direction, it's going to happen from the radical right. They talk about the radical left, but what about the radical right? I mean, you got these dudes that will take high-powered rifles and basically assassinate abortion doctors and then run off into the hills of Appalachia and all this kind of stuff. Cooking bacon off a leaf and all this, drinking water out of a stream because they just killed an abortion doctor. FBI manhunts for years. I mean, that's a real thing. The Oklahoma City bombing, those are radical right people. Timothy McVeigh, these extreme views. These militia groups, these white militia groups up in Michigan, that's the radical right. The radical right, radicalized around their goofy ass agenda, whatever the hell that is. Rachel Ricer, good morning, family, and the Choppers, good morning to you. Good to see everybody. Brent writes, Black President skit was absolutely hilarious, and you had great comedians like John Witherspoon, R.I.P., Tim Reed, and Marsha Warfield as some of the reporters. Yeah, that was classic. That was very, very classic right there. Brandon writes, Dieters has to go. Angela writes, Joe Dieters is a straight up racist. Don Lee writes, Dieters has to go. I don't know if Joe Dieters is a straight up racist. What I will say is that as a black man living in Cincinnati, I believe that the prosecutor offices, as long as he has been the prosecutor, I don't think it's a friendly place for black people, whether you've committed a crime or not. That's just me. Now, I know there's been so many murders in this city where black families have been grieving, and then Joe Dieters, as a prosecutor and as official capacity, will lead the investigation and the prosecution of those individuals. So I know there's a lot of black families that look at Joe Dieters favorably because their family has been victimized by violence, probably gun violence, and then Joe Dieters was there to get them justice. So I carve out an exception for them. What I would say is that it really wouldn't matter who the prosecutor is in those cases, that the prosecutor is going to do their job. But generally speaking, we can do a whole lot better. The prosecutor's office could play a much better role in our community than it does under Joe Dieters. That's one thing that I liked about Fanon Rucker, is he's thinking beyond just the constraints of what he sees from Joe Dieters. I do believe that Fanon Rucker will lead a charge to diversify the prosecutor's office. I believe that. I believe that that'll be something that'll be on his agenda. And we all know that the prosecutor's office has been a pipeline to these local judgeships. We know that. So it matters who's working in that prosecutor's office. That's a really big deal. It's not a small thing at all. It matters a great deal. Who will lead us in the near future? We'll have to find out. I will say that, and going back to something that Brother Mazone said, I think on a local, now if you're talking locally, this election will say something about black votes here in Hamilton County. So I'll be looking at two things. Number one, I'll be looking at the overall turnout of registered voters. That'll say a lot. Now, do you blame that on the politicians or the parties? Is it their job to get out and interact with the voters? Sure it is. 100%. But You got to help yourself as well, man. You got to help yourself as well. That's all I'll say. Rachel writes, Joe gots to go. They should have got some Joe gots to go t-shirts. That should have been like a jingle. You know what I'm saying? Ballhead writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Good to see you. FP writes, there are several business owners, white, black, and others, who've told me that the masks are ridiculous. So they don't require patrons to wear them. And any business owner with that attitude cannot get my money. I'm not doing takeout. I'm not doing carry out. I'm not doing delivery, and I'm not coming to your business. Period. The science is clear when it comes to wearing a mask as relates to COVID-19. It ain't even up to debate, family. It's 100% clear. I'm reading this morning from the Cincinnati Inquirer that they've got thousands of complaints, but no real enforcement. Enforcement has been limited. And we know why, because the health department does not have the manpower to deal with it. I get that. They don't have the power to deal with that locally. They're struggling to make sure that these local businesses are preparing your food the way they're supposed to. They're struggling with that. How do we expect them to deal with that and also deal with it, be the mask police? It's ridiculous. To me, locally in Hamilton County and Cincinnati, the real consequences were reserved for black people in particular. It was overwhelmingly black people that were arrested and or detained for not wearing a mask or being out during, the shutdown or the lockdown. In Hamilton County, if I'm wrong about that, set me straight. But statistically speaking, to my recollection, it was black folks who surprised by that, who were overwhelmingly targeted for that. Like Rashawn Davis. And I told you that black man did nothing wrong. I told you. It took a judge. It took a grand jury to tell us what we already knew, that this was a waste of freaking time. You wasting jail time and taxpayer money during a pandemic to incarcerate this man at the so-called Justice Center is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'll tell you another case, and this is my opinion. It has nothing to do with anything. It wouldn't matter whether the McGuffey campaign was using this platform or not. I'm going to keep it 100. Anyone who works with me knows that you do not get editorial control over what I say or any of the hosts on CDM. It's a platform for you to get visibility in front of the audience. That's it. But I'll be honest with you, Hamilton County Sheriff, there's no conversation, quite honestly. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? There's no conversation. There's a clear-cut choice between Charmaine McGuffey and Bruce, who killed a black man, unarmed black man back in the 90s, and is still making excuses about it to this day. Still making excuses about it to this day. All right, well, we didn't have tasers back then. It was two of you armed. You had other means. You overreacted. You got scared. You was like, you know what? I can get away with it. And you got away with it. I mean, again, when I heard Bruce Hoffbauer doing the NAACP forum, I'll say it again. I've been saying, I'll say it again. If you haven't already done so, go to the NAACP's Facebook page. Go to their video library and just go back and watch those videos. They did an excellent job speaking to all the candidates, including the judges as well. And if you want to inform yourself about who these people are, it'll be great. I'll be honest with you. When I voted, man, I had a deeper insight this year because of those videos than I ever had. They did an excellent job. Go back and watch it for yourself. You got time. You're on Facebook anyway. Go to Facebook right now. Or sometime today, or before you vote if you haven't already voted. Just go through the videos, look at the different races, and just go back and it might take you a little bit of time, but you'll be much more informed about who these judges are and who these candidates are and what they represent and where they stand. It's one of the smartest things you do. When I was voting, I had in mind what I saw and what I could remember from the NAACP's forum. They did an excellent job. Props to them and the Prince Hall Masons. Excellent job. Resourcing our community. Proud to have been a moderator and to work with them via CDM. Proud to do it. As I said before, man, I've had people saying all kind of issue about the NAACP. I'm like, no, you just don't know what you're talking about. Let me set the record straight for you. You know what I'm saying? They're doing great work out here. So again, if you haven't already done it, you're like, I'm hearing this for the first time. Go check it out. It's on Facebook. Perfectly curated in video in their library, on their Facebook page. You can check it out. You may not have to look at all of them because you might already have made your decision. But especially with those judges, if you're a little bit fuzzy about who they are and all that kind of stuff, because there is no D or R, there is no party designation when you get to your ballot. But it'll give you a sense of who these individuals are. Go check it out. Go check it out. And Bruce Hofbauer said, no, I didn't go down and talk with the protesters. I was done. So let me get this straight. You killed an unarmed black man and trivialized his life by talking about it was some suicide by cop. Talking about what his mother, who is dead mother, who we can't even talk to her, but you gonna tell us what his mother said to you 25 years ago. Yeah, okay, Bruce, I'm supposed to believe you? Meanwhile, instead of coming on the Nathan Ivey Show, you send the black sheriff deputy to come on the Nathan Ivey Show and talk for you. Weak ass man move. I'll say it again, weak man. On a man level, that's a weak man move. Speak for yourself. You're the candidate. Remember when Earl came in? It wasn't good. It wasn't good. Weak ass man. Won't even come talk to the black community. And I know you talk to L-Dub. Great. L-Dub does great work. He's a resource in our community. I'm glad that L-Dub, as in Lincoln Ware, is on the air. Glad. I heard the interview. Okay. That's cool. That's a start. But over here, right here, on this show, it's a little different. It's going to be a little bit different. We might spend the whole time just on one question. But it is what it is. When here you are running as a candidate during this year, when there's so much social unrest and concerned people are hitting the streets, and you can't even go stand in the background and listen. You can't even go to a peaceful protest and listen to what these citizens have to say. Talking about some, I didn't want to be like McGuffey and get in the way. Huh? That tells me that if you're elected, you're going to be the same way as the sheriff. You're going to run the 55 KRC. You're going to run the 700 WLW. You're going to kiss they hiney. You're going to turn your back on black media. Unless you think you're talking to a black host that'll just let you get away with it. When the community has a concern or issue, if you feel like it's opposed to yours, you're not going to go speak with them because that's what you did when you were running. Why would I expect you to do anything different when you get in the job than you did when you was trying to get the job? Speaking of Bruce Hofbauer, why would I expect that? I mean, no brainer. Asked this man about diversity. He said, well, when I look at the diversity levels, I see growth. Negro, what you just say? You see what now? You see growth? Huh? Oh, yeah, this is much better than it was 25 years ago. A Negro, please. So to me, it ain't even close. And I'll say it again. Again, this is just my personal viewpoint. I'm going to give it to you straight, whether people can think what they want to think. But just logically speaking, you got one candidate that rose to a higher rank as a sheriff inside the sheriff's department than Bruce Hofbauer did as a Cincinnati police officer. But you've got more experience than the person who worked in the environment that you're trying to work in and rose higher than you did as a Cincinnati police officer. It just don't make sense. It don't make no sense. And I'm not saying anybody's perfect. We know no one's perfect. Black, white, Democrat, Republican, Independent. But if you just look at it logically, I mean, I ain't feeling it. I'm just being honest with you. And some of these white men Republicans and they Trump tactics, we see right through you. I'll tell you another one. Hamilton County Commissioner. I appreciate Andy Black coming on. I told him, man, you got, I respect it as a man, as a human and as a man. You came on, spoke for yourself. You didn't just send some black person to speak for you. But him versus Alicia Reese, why would I do that? Why would that make sense for Hamilton County? Because of what exactly? And listen, I appreciate and respect Andy Black for coming on this show and keeping it real and saying, look, I realized that mailer had a history, has some racist undertones. But when I looked at it, he didn't say in my bubble, I'm injecting that, but in his bubble, he just didn't see it. But as a black voter in Hamilton County, it begs the question, if you become the Hamilton County Commissioner, because of your lack of sensitivity in the world that you live in, your little bubble you live in, Andy Black, are you going to make more of these kind of mistakes when it comes to representing us? I could see that happening. On top of everything else, I could see that happening. Oops, my bad. Well, I didn't know. You didn't know. Yeah, no. And then what I need you to do is to keep, if you put, so Andy Black, the Hamilton County Party put out this racist mailer, right? Subtly racist. It wasn't overtly racist, but it was subtly racist, in my opinion. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catches something by the toe. And as the racist part of the nursery rhyme goes, catch an N-word, catch a nigga by his toe, right? When it was brought to Andy Black's attention, he was all on social media like, oh, this is just some BS, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, when you come to Jesus and you now realize like, oops, I'm bad, you got to spend the same energy on them same social platforms explaining yourself and saying, oops, my bad, it was brought to my attention. It ain't enough for you to do it on TV just one time real quick. It ain't enough. If you put out 5 tweets like, oh, this is some BS, the Reese campaign is reaching now on some racist stuff. How is this racist? And the Hamilton County Republican Party got a black woman to write an op-ed piece for the Inquirer. And this is a black female, right? She must be one of these GOP operatives. I forget her name. Light-skinned sister. She's a lawyer. And she wrote this op-ed piece like, oh, man, as a black female, people trying to make a big deal out of this. It was no big deal. There's nothing racist here at all. Well, now that Andy Black himself has admitted it, where's the rebuttal? He came on these airwaves and said, yeah, oops, my bad. It was a mistake. Looking back now that we missed that one. What else are you going to miss, Andy? As it relates to representing black people in Hamilton County. What else are you going to miss? That's a fair question. I asked him the question. I got more respect for Andy Black than Bruce Hoffbauer. Because at least Andy Black can stand for himself as a man. You know what I'm saying? At least he can do that. At least he can call in and represent himself. You're not sending a black surrogate. I got no respect for that. I'm going to call it out every single time. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry, quite honestly. I ain't going for it. We ain't having it. We ain't going for it. We're going to call it out every single time. There are no consequences. If you don't like me, so goddamn what? You probably don't like me anyway. I mean, so what? But I got to keep it real with the audience. That was one of the weakest things I've seen locally. Got black people running around, oh, yeah, this has already been settled. He killed a black man, it's no big deal. Do black lives matter or not? Did it matter or not? Do we deserve an explanation and follow-up questions on this issue or not? To me, I think we deserve it. Now, does that have to be everything when it comes to Hamilton County Sheriff race? No. But it should be something. If you support the Black Lives Matter movement and the mural, then you got to support that that's an issue in the Hamilton County Sheriff's race. I don't care what you think. It's got to be an issue. I'm sorry. The vortex, man, listen, talk to community leaders, and I have. That was in the community back then, and that vortex and their tactics was a problem primarily in our community. He's touting it like, oh, yeah, look, I'm sure you like going down over the Rhine. I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's cool, but do the ends always justify the means? I would say no, especially when the means usually comes down on the back of black people. I'm just saying. Or non-white folks or working class people. Crystal writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Crystal. I got to take a break real quick, family. We'll come right back. Angela writes, I'm from Denver, but we lived in Cincinnati for 18 years. Dieters ain't I went downtown and protest for Sam DuBose. I was so disappointed when that white boy walked because Joe Dieters did a piss poor job. That's why. He did a horrible job. But listen, family, stay close. We'll be right back. 513-873-7134. This is the Nathan Ivey Show, live, local, and vocal, brought to you by Sin Digital Media.
Who is Judge Melba Marsh, you ask? She serves at the behest of our community and strives to maintain a fair and balanced courtroom based solely on the facts, with an understanding that rehabilitation is often a more valuable decision than incarceration. Not all the battles involving Black Lives Matter occurred outside of the courthouse. There are major battles occurring inside the courthouse too. Judge Marsh has been fighting for change her whole life. She's been in the system fighting for equal justice. She's been affected by it, had to fight to be respected. For example, She was part of the commission to undertake judicial reforms in 1999. She has taken the lead in diversifying juries with younger people and minorities. While some folks talk about these reforms, she has lived it and furthers them each day in her courtroom.
Paid for by Committee to Re-elect Judge Melba Marsh.
This is Zoe Wesson. What side of history do you want to be on? The right side, or one where black people continue to be underrepresented in Hamilton County? Now's your chance to end 230 years of exclusion. In Charlie Winburn, we have a man that's received the Cincinnati NAACP President's Award, who fought on the Ohio Civil Rights Commission for 6 years, who received the Baptist Ministers Conference Community Service Award. Charlie Winburn has received the Southern Christian Leadership Conference Award and was honored by WDBZ The Buzz as Pastor of the Month. We know Charlie Winburn, and he knows us. He's the right man to put us on the right side of history. On Tuesday, November 3rd, vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer.
I am Charlie Winburn, and I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, November the 3rd, paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
Cecil Thomas asking you to vote for Charmaine McGuffey for Sheriff of Hamilton County. As a former police officer, I know Charmaine is the only qualified candidate to be sheriff. She stands with our community and will lead with accountability. Her opponent used excessive force in the killing of an unarmed black man and led the highly controversial Vortex unit. He is the last person we need to lead our sheriff's office. Trust the judgment of someone who knows. Vote Charmaine McGuffey for sheriff, a vote for justice.
This is Charmaine McGuffey asking for your vote. Paid for by people for McGuffey for sheriff.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
You're listening to The Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now, let's get back to the flow.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand.
Yeah, they just don't understand, family. Good morning to you, 513-873-7134. This is a personal invitation from me to you. CDM, Sin Digital Media, is doing a push watch party tomorrow starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be your host. I'm not sure how long we're going to go. We might go 12 hours. I'm built for this. We might go from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. Now, I don't expect you to be there the whole time. I know the other folks are doing election parties, and that is great. That is great. I think it's so good that people are creating platforms so that you can have a way to interact. But this is a black voter push / watch party tomorrow, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And I got many things planned. I'll tell you more about it during the stream tomorrow and perhaps during tomorrow's show as well, and give you some updates on what to expect. We'll watch it together. We'll talk about what it means to the black family and black voters in particular. We'll talk about black agendas locally, regionally, nationally, among other things. I'll give you more details tomorrow on the show. Make sure you tune in tomorrow bright and early. I will be with you. Now, let me give you a heads up. So, man, I would love to be with you. I'd love to be with you all day on the 4th as well. But I do have something that is going to take my attention. I have to think about what I want to do on the 4th because let's just say the 3rd and the 4th are going to be very, very busy for me. They're going to be very, very busy. I'm going to spend a lot of time on the air trying to connect with you and get as much information and analysis, real-time analysis from a black male Cincinnati perspective. That's tomorrow on the show starting at 4 p.m. Again, when you see this promo, please like and share it. I need people to share that as much as possible just so people know. Facebook has changed its push rules for political ads until after the election. So I need you to be the wings that carry that to the outer recesses, all the recesses of Facebook and social media, whether you're on Twitter or Instagram or wherever. When you see that, please share it if you're inclined to do so. If you're like, fuck you, Nate, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But if you give a damn and you're inclined to do so, then please check it out. And just know, I mean, you might be at other parties. I know the Inquirer is doing something, the NAACP. That is great. That's great. I'm sure they're going to be absolutely wonderful. I just want you to know that we'll be here. I'll be here with you, and we'll check it out together, what's going to be happening. And on the 4th, I haven't made my decision because I do have an appointment in the morning. Now, I'm going to do the show. I might do it much earlier. So, again, we might be together a lot between the 3rd and the 4th. And then I might come back on during the day on the 4th and just give you some special programming. And tomorrow we'll be unveiling, by we, I mean myself, CDM will be unveiling some new things, perhaps a new podcast and some new initiatives, because I think tomorrow's very, very important. But I'm more focused on what happens the day after tomorrow, to be honest with you. In terms of Black voters and the Black family, tomorrow is super important, make no doubt about it. But what we do in the weeks, the months, the years after this is what I think is the most critical thing. And I'll talk more about that tomorrow on the stream. Again, I'll put it back up on the screen here, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern time, Election Day, Black Voter Push and Watch Party. Of course, that'll be the last, 3.5 hours. There's many, many people that are registered and don't vote. And perhaps we can push you to get out there and talk about the importance of it in those last seconds. Plus, we can analyze and talk about the returns as they're coming in and kind of set the table. Okay, it'll be really, really interesting, something different, and just another platform for you to plug into. Again, the real information is going to come in at about 7:30, but I like being early. There'll be a lot to talk about before that, a lot. All right, 513-873-7134. If you would like to share your thoughts this morning, it's a free call anywhere in the country and in some places around the world. Okay, you can always do it that way. Let me jump back inside the chop shop and see what's up with my people here. Ashley writes, due to our schedule, I am voting tomorrow morning before work. Hubby already voted. Hey, good morning to you, Ashley, and thank you for becoming a patron. I really appreciate it. I got to shout out my patrons between today and tomorrow as well. All the folks that become patrons, join a mission to amplify Black voices in the greater Cincinnati area and beyond. Your support means everything. I was super pumped to see that, Ashley. I appreciate it because I know you're a big supporter of the show. Jasmine writes, I wouldn't support anything Ice Cube does in the future ever. Really? Why? Really? Why, Jasmine? From what I've heard, I think people are like lumping everybody in. So Ice Cube has gotten some critiques. Some of the critiques are more intelligent and on point than others. Like the folks out there saying, oh, Ice Cube, he endorsed Trump. That's not what happened. But the folks out there who, like myself, are saying that Ice Cube played the wrong hand at the wrong time. I think there's something very accurate about that. He allowed himself to be a prop. I called him a dance. He allowed himself to be a dancing monkey in the Trump circus. I saw somebody had reiterated that a few weeks ago. I'll say it again. I'll stand by it. He allowed himself to be used by Trump before you got anything out of it. And then people said, well, Trump, they're Ice Cube supporters, and people tend to do this when everything. Like Ice Cube supporters, like people that really, really like Ice Cube, they started lumping all the critiques of Ice Cube all together as if it's just one critique. It's not all one critique. I know for a fact that Ice Cube did not endorse Trump. I never said he did. The problem is that he played the wrong hand. The whole I'm going to have a meeting hand. It's too late in the game to play that. I'm not saying there isn't a hand to play, but that hand, I think personally was the wrong hand. Why? Because it opens the door for you to be exploited right before the election. And that's exactly what happened. You had Ice Cube out there, and some of his rhetoric just didn't make any sense. I think Ice Cube is caught up in his own ego, quite honest. That's my personal opinion. But ever since that whole thing happened initially when Trump campaign people put it out there on Twitter and social media that they had a meeting with Ice Cube has been doing all kind of podcasts trying to re-explain himself. Well, the reason why he has to do that is because he played the wrong damn hand, time. That's why. It was just bad messaging on his part. Had he did a better job of messaging, he wouldn't be talking with the Griot and Willie D and all these different people, Jamel Hill and all these different podcasts, trying to explain himself. He should have did it right the first time, but it is what it is. But overall, though, I think the brother is in the right direction. He's in the right direction. I mean, you can't overlook the people that's out there already and then say, call me. That don't make any sense, but okay. But, brothers on a black agenda tip, I'm with it. I hope he's successful, 100%. So I think two things can be true when it comes to ICE. You can support Ice Cube in his overall effort to build a black agenda and still think that in this case with Trump, he played the wrong hand. It's real simple. But so why you say that, Jasmine? That's interesting to me. Because I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying? Well, we don't need this bathwater. We're going to throw this out. But the baby, we can still keep it. So we don't need Ice out here playing the wrong hand. But if he, as a celebrity, wants to use his celebrity to try to push a black agenda, equity, policy, intangibles, let him do it. Let him do it. Now, his explanation as to why he didn't talk with Kamala Harris, but yet you're going to do a podcast with Jamel Hill, don't make no damn sense to me whatsoever. I don't care how people try to explain it. It don't make any sense. It just don't make any sense. Now, you're going to talk to Willie D. Live. You're going to talk to all these different people. You're talking with the griot. You're on a panel with Byron Allen, but you won't do a Zoom call. You're on a panel with other celebrities talking about your agenda with people who will never be empowered to put it in place, but you won't do a Zoom call with other celebrities with Kamala Harris, who might be in place as the next VP to be a champion for it. That don't make sense. That don't make no damn sense. I don't care what nobody says. It don't make no sense. What the hell is Stevie Wonder going to do for you? You sit on the panel with Stevie Wonder and Byron Allen, and who else was there? It was another celebrity there. The dude from 21 Jump Street. But you won't do a Zoom call because D.L. Hughley and Killer Mike are on there? Huh? I don't make no damn, it's just ego. That's what that is. All ego. DeWine was declaring Trump the winner of Ohio on yesterday. How is that when all the votes haven't been counted? Using strategy for declaring Trump the winner, setting it up in advance to convince people that Trump is the winner. That's why I never voted for Mike DeWine. That's why I keep telling you that Mike DeWine was never our friend. He's a Trumpster. He's a party dude. Mike DeWine is running around here talking about how Trump did a great job with his coronavirus response. What? He brought COVID to Cleveland.
Are you interested in...
Sorry about that. I fired that by accident. He brought COVID to Cleveland. Are we losing our... Man, that was crazy. That was crazy. So Mike DeWine is a party guy first. He don't give a damn about you and me. He cares about that party first. That's the reason why he hasn't done what he had to do in terms of making sure that we are safe here in the state of Ohio, because it would be at odds with the Trump administration. That's why I say that Mike DeWine had no spine. He won't even do what's right by us, the people in Ohio, because he wants to be in line with the Trump administration, even though in his head, Mike DeWine's not an idiot. He's not a dumb guy. He's a very smart man. He knows deep down, not even that deep in his heart, behind closed doors, he knows that COVID is running crazy. He knows that Trump's response has been wrong. He knows that, but he's going to play the party line. That's why I never thought that Kasich was a friend of the black man either, but at least Kasich was willing to stand up. I've wondered this, if John Kasich was the governor of Ohio, how would his response be any different to what we're seeing from Mike DeWine? Because we saw that John Kasich was one of the few Republican governors who was willing to stand up and verbalize it. Like, to be honest with you, between you and me, I talked to some of these local Republican dudes behind closed doors, and they'll tell you, yeah, you right, Nate. You right, but hey, it's the party. Democrats and Republicans do it. It is what it is. Kelly writes, yes, your numbers reflect GOT get out the vote weekend numbers. That's right. It sounds like P. Diddy is more than likely to build a super PAC instead of a political party. You will need a minimum of 10 years just to build your own party infrastructure and to have viable candidates in selected states. Yeah, but you know what? You got to start somewhere, Brent. You might be right about that, but that's what I say. You got to start somewhere. And I don't know Our Black Party. If you go to Our Black Party, I think it's .org. Again, I appreciate it. And not only is he doing that, but he's reshaping reshaping his media platform, Revolt TV, to reflect what he's trying to do in terms of politics. So again, I'm with it. I'm with it. Let me see here. What is Our Black Party? Is it an actual party or just a political organization? Our Black Party is an FEC registered political committee recognized under Section 527. Now, smarter people have to tell me this before I can do any research on it. But does that mean that it's a registered political action committee, or is this the beginning of a registered political party? If somebody knows that, please tell me. I'd love to know that. I don't know, because it's called the Our Black Party, which would imply that he's building a political party, which I'm for. I'm for. But even if it was just a political action committee, I'm for that too. But I just want to know. Jeezy is supporting Biden. Oh, that's just so wonderful to know. I love to know what the celebrities think about politics. He's also about to marry a non-black woman, but it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. Do you? Do you? Has Ice Cube ever participated in any of the Revolt Black Summit forums? Has he done anything for the black community? I'm asking because I honestly don't know. Rachel, that's a fair question, and I don't know either. I don't know if he's been a part of their Revolt. Have they done political forums to this point? I thought they were all like music forums. I don't know. I don't know. I do know that for the last 25 years, going back to NWA, that he's had politically and socially charged music. I mean, just in 2018, the guy came out with a song called basically the president, Arrest the President. That's the name of the song, Arrest the President. This nigga is Russian intelligence. That's how the song goes. Speaking of songs, man, I've just started that Busta Rhymes new album, ELE2 Extinction Level Event 2. Pretty dope. Pretty dope. The first video I really like. I think it's called Czar. Like it. It's got some old straight from Wakanda, black man supreme type super vibe to it. He's like swimming with sharks, all kind of stuff. You got the warriors, what I'm not even I can't even remember how to pronounce it. There was a Dora Mijaili, right? The all-female super elite protection force for Black Panther. He's got his own Dora Mijaili in the video. It's pretty dope. When people talk about the greatest rappers of all time, they overlook Busta Rhymes. That's because Busta Rhymes is talented on a level that few people can even deal with. Busta Rhymes got skills that folks can't even comprehend. His mouthpiece game in terms of a lyricist, I mean, instead of best rappers, if we had top lyricists, Busta Rhymes would have to be at the top of that list. No doubt about it. I haven't finished. I'm only like maybe 5 tracks into it, just giving it one path, but it's pretty dope. Samantha writes, good morning, all. Jasmine writes, if we will flip Texas before they flip New York. Believe that. Angela writes, Trump puppets are what they are. Absolutely. Robert writes, putting dollars above our collective success are the definition of sellouts. And if they are worried about tax liability, where's their intentionality to give to black grassroots organizations? All fair. All fair. Hold on one second here. All fair. All very, very fair this morning. 513-873-7134. If you would like to share your thoughts this morning. Let me make sure that our phone lines are connected the way that I need them to be this morning, because I'm not infallible. Sometimes I forget. I thought I changed them back, but I may not have. Let me double check here. Phone lines are conspicuously a little bit quiet this morning, which I'm cool with. No problem with that. You can always, yes, just what I thought. You can always take a free ride on my thoughts. Just what I thought. Let me see. 403. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so now we're good. So if you've been misdirected somewhere else and trying to call in, my apologies. I am not infallible. The phone lines are connected now. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Brandon writes, he is effing delusional. Let me see. Speak of the devil. There it is. Appreciate it. You got to do things yourself this world. I understand it. Appreciate it. Got to make sure. Let me see. Let's go to the phones. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey. How are you, sir?
I'm doing excellent. Doing excellent, Drop. My apologies if you're trying to call in. That was my error.
Well, that's okay on my part, but the number that it was connected to, she might be a little upset. Mr. Ivey, well, we got one day to go, and from my observations over the weekend, the Democrats are starting to get nervous, Mr. Ivey. And I would just like to, if you will allow me, to read a headline from Vox. And I'm pretty sure you're familiar.
You said Vox?
With,
VOX?
Yeah, VOX. Okay. Yeah, Vox. And basically the headline is that the Democrats should not really worry about the black vote and the Latino vote right now, but it's actually a problem, because let me read it. Okay, this is the headline: Black and Latino turnout lags white turnout in some key states. Democrats should not. What's that?
You said it's from Vox?
Yeah, VOX, and it was written on October 31st at 2 p.m.
Okay, I'm checking it out now. See if I can find it.
Oh, okay, and it says Democrats shouldn't panic, and then in parentheses, yet. And Black and Latino voters are less likely to vote by mail. That doesn't mean they won't vote. Now, Mr. Ivey, this article was written on October 31st. Okay, the election is tomorrow.
Okay.
Joe Biden is in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump had like 4 different rallies in Pennsylvania with thousands of people waiting to listen to him in Pennsylvania. Over the weekend, the numbers are starting to turn in Pennsylvania. So, Mr. Ivey, the so-called pundits are now having to admit that Donald Trump does have a path to 270 electoral votes if he wins Philadelphia, because they're saying he's going to win Ohio, he's going to win North Carolina, he's going to win Georgia, he's going to win Texas, and he's going to win Florida. But Michigan and Wisconsin, he may lose. But if he wins Philadelphia, he's got a narrow path to, I think it's 271 or 270. So with this article from Vox, Mr. Ivey, and then with the injection of people like Lil Wayne, Ice Cube, 50 Cent, Kanye West, and P. Diddy. Let me just read you another
Wait a minute,
thing, Mr. Ivey.
Wait,
Lil Wayne.
You said Ice Cube. Ice Cube never endorsed Trump. Why would you add him to the list?
No, I'm saying they interjected themselves into the election right when early voting started. Right. Obviously, Kanye West was way before that.
And so
at the time when these men made their presence known to all media, it was when early voting had started.
I agree with you. So in your opinion, do you think that Ice Cube's interjection into the political scene at that moment is something that helps Trump or helped Trump when he did it?
Yes, because I'll read you. Okay, Lil Wayne has 34.8 million followers on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Ice Cube, 5.6 million. 50 Cent, 12.3 million. Mm-hmm. Kanye West, 30.9 million. P. Diddy, 15.6 million. Now, in contrast, Kamala Harris has 7 million and Joe Biden has 11. Okay? So my point is, Mr. Ivey, you know how these people are called influencers. That is the word that is used in social media. Not only do they have followers, but they influence a large amount of people that follow them on their social media platforms. Now, those numbers were just on Twitter, Mr. Ivey. Now, I don't want to have to go to Instagram or to TikTok, but my point is that with this article from Vox, the commentary that I'm hearing over the weekend, how Roland Martin is losing his mind, and how all these pundits are starting to worry about these images that were brought up by Broadway Flo that he's seeing in New York, the images that are happening out here in California and in Washington, D.C. The Democrats are starting to get nervous. And here's another indication before I hang up is Washington, D.C., New York City, Beverly Hills, California, and other parts of California businesses have already began to hire security to board up their businesses. The local government have law enforcement on standby because they are prepared for some type of unrest to happen either on election night or the days following. Now, Mr. Ivey, these are all blue cities. Why would they be prepared for a Biden victory? That doesn't make sense. If they were so confident that Biden had this thing locked up, they will probably be celebrating, not boarding up their businesses to prepare for rioting and looting. So these are the indications. I don't see a connection between those two. One day,
I don't see a connection between those two. I mean, just because one has nothing to do with the other, in my opinion. Maybe you can help me explain this to me. So, if I'm a business owner, despite who you think is going to win, you might be predicting that either side, like supporters on either side, might hit the streets, especially during 2020 when we've seen so much social unrest. I think that's less about a prediction that Biden is going to lose and more just being real about the fact you got a lot of radicalized people out there in a year in which we have so many people in the streets. What am I missing?
Okay, well, the thing you're missing, or maybe you just don't want to admit that over this past summer, these past 6 months, Mr. Ivey, the rioting, the looting, the images that were projected across America's TV screens were done by Democrats. Those images, people did not see Republicans in the streets protesting. Just last week,
sure you did. They were in
Philadelphia. But Mr. Ivey, just last week in Philadelphia, when a legitimate police shooting occurred, they burned the city. They looted. Okay, so we're only a few days removed from how certain groups react when things go a certain way.
So
the evidence is there, Mr. Ivey,
well,
all through the summer.
There. It might
These
be there.
Cities allowed this stuff to happen. They're not going to stand by this time and let it happen.
I got to challenge you on something you said, though.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Ivey. I'm sorry.
Well, you've been making this point for months now that not all black people, and in particular younger black voters, are not feeling Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. True?
Yes.
Okay. But now you just made the point that the people that's out there rioting are Democrats. Well, what I see, or looting or whatever, what I've seen is a lot of younger black folks. So how are they Democrats? A lot of those people are feeling disaffected by the system in general. They ain't necessarily Democrats. They might vote, but how do you know whether they're Democrats or Republicans or independents?
For the simple fact that 80 to 90% of black people who are registered to vote in this country are registered as Democrats. So when you see a black image involved in any type of political activity, people watching, Mr. Ivey, including black people, will assume that those black faces support the Democrat Party. Period. That is America, sir.
Yeah, but you use that word assume, and that's the problem. You're assuming without any facts. But I get what you're trying to say.
So it is a fact. And that's why Joe Biden is lagging behind Hillary Clinton's 2016 numbers with the Hispanic vote by 3 points and with the black vote by, guess what, 5 to 8.
Is that
5 to 8%, Mr. Ivey. Okay, just look at the numbers. Read the Vox article. Okay, go to Nate Silver's 538. Go to the Pew Research. All these outlets have put out polling data that shows that Joe Biden is right around 88 to maybe 90% of the black vote.
I'm looking at 538 right now.
Short.
I'm looking at 538 right now, since you suggested it. They have something called an election forecast, and it reads, Biden is clearly favored to win the election, updated 19 minutes ago.
I know, 10%, but Donald Trump has a 10% chance. So that means he has a path to 270.
Well, he's got a path because he's in the race. But I'm just saying, if you said go to 538. I went to 538. They're predicting that Joe Biden's going to win. That's all I'm saying.
No,
you're saying all these poll numbers and stuff is just not true.
Mr. Ivey, I'm specifically talking about the black and the Hispanic / Latino vote.
Oh,
okay. That's what I'm talking about, Mr. Ivey. Their internal numbers are showing that Joe Biden is not at the Obama 2012 number of 93%. He's not there yet. And because so many early votes have been cast already, 1/3, okay? In 2016, Mr. Ivey, there was about 135 million votes cast in the United States, okay? And right now, I think 90 million have already been cast through early voting. Now, they're already projecting, Mr. Ivey, that Republicans are going to turn out. Democrats who traditionally turn out on election day and on the Sunday with souls to the polls did not happen because of COVID and because the Democrat Party pushed mail-in balloting and made these states change their election rules to go along with the Democrat Party's agenda to have mail-in balloting. Prior to COVID, Mr. Ivey, there were only 5 states, 5 out of 50 that did universal mail-in balloting. Now it's 9. These states, this is their first election doing it, Mr. Ivey. And the one state that could decide the 270 is Philadelphia. And this year, Philadelphia decided to use mail-in ballots. So the Secretary of State for Philly was on the media over the weekend, Mr. Ivey. She said herself, they will not be able to have those ballots counted until possibly Wednesday, latest Thursday. So again, Mr. Ivey, I put it out there. Reach one, teach one, trust but verify everything. The voter turnout on tomorrow favors the Republican Party, and they're already out there in the streets. They're already showing up at these rallies, Mr. Ivey. Trump he's in another state today. He's everywhere.
He's spreading COVID somewhere else today.
That's all I got.
That's all I need.
Yeah, but that's all. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Ivey. Drop Squad 52, dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it. Peace.
Appreciate you. 513-873-7134 if you'd like to share your thoughts this morning. I love to hear him. That man, he gonna go down with the Trump. The one thing you say about Drop's going down with the shit, man. Drop is going down with the Titanic. He ain't getting in the lifeboat. He gonna say that for somebody else. You take it. He's going down with the ship. It is what it is, if it goes that way. But you just recommended go to 538. I go to 538. And what they're saying is that their national polling, and apparently, and I don't know all the methodology of it. Appreciate you. How'd you sleep? I don't know the methodology of it, but apparently they did a whole bunch of like computer profiles or whatever. And again, I don't know what that means exactly. These computer simulations. And what they found is that in the vast majority of them, based upon the available information, Biden wins. There are some states that are a toss-up. And again, if you were calling in and you were misdirected somewhere else, my apologies. All on me. I should have took care of that over the weekend. I thought I did, but obviously I did not. So you might have been misdirected somewhere else. But you can call back in now at 513-873-7134. So there's 9 states. Let's stay here that 538. And if you don't know what 538 is, that's like a big like political website. They do some really, really, really comprehensive predictions and forecasts that are referenced in a lot of media outlets. So since he brought it up, let's stay here. There are 9 states with the closest races being predicted by 538. Nevada, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, Iowa, Texas, Georgia, and Ohio. Since we're in Ohio, let's look at Ohio. They're saying it's a toss-up in Ohio. They simulated the election 40,000 times to see who wins most often. Matter of fact, let me put this on the screen for you because I think that would be much better. You can check it out for yourself. They simulated this, and I'm reading from what they're saying. I can't confirm nor deny what they said they did. But, quote, it reads, we simulate the election 40,000 times to see who wins most often. The sample of 100 outcomes below gives you a good idea of the range of scenarios our model thinks is possible. Again, I don't know what the model is or what the calculation for the model is as well, but it is what it is. They're saying that 51 out of 100 times Trump wins Ohio. 49 out of 100 times Biden wins Ohio. That's what they're saying. They're saying that there's 9 very, very close states right here. I read it to you. Ohio is one of those states. We have to see if it comes down that way, if in fact their motto is going to be what ends up happening. We'll have to wait and see. We don't really know. It could have a huge impact in those down ballot races. Could have a huge impact in what happens here in Hamilton County. Could have a huge impact. We'll have to wait and see. 513-873-7134. So again, starting tomorrow at 4 p.m., I'm doing a Black Voter Push/Watch Party. And of course, if you listen to the show during the week, you've heard me talking about this and my plans to do just this throughout the week of the show. I didn't just come up with this over the weekend. It didn't just happen on Friday. I've been talking about this all week long. And it makes sense because, of course, I did an election watch party through all of the presidential elections. So why would I miss out on this to have a conversation with you? And the election is just so big in front of us. So 4 p.m., you can go to Send Digital Media and join the Black Voter Push/Watch Party. More details to come, my friends. And again, I'll be here, okay? You can weave in and out. You might go to other online parties. That is great. That is great. But I just want you to know that we will be here. I will be here at Send Digital Media, and we'll be talking about it. And I will not be alone. We'll have some really interesting potential guests as well. So get ready for that. That's tomorrow, starting at 4 p.m. Before the election, the polls actually end and close at 7:30, and then through the analysis as well. And I'm not sure if I want to, and I reserve the right to make that decision. I'm not sure if I want to do that straight or if I want to end the stream and then come back. I may play it by ear. We'll see. But you're more than welcome to join that stream. Looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. And we can, and hopefully there won't be any major incidences that happen. If they do happen, I'll be here with breaking news, sort of as a funnel in terms of things that are related to the Black voter and Black family in particular. And you can check it out live here on Facebook and other platforms as well. So I'll announce that tomorrow. All right. That'll be tomorrow starting at 4 p.m. Looking forward to it. All right, let's back to your chat here. Jermaine writes, the white woman who left her baby in the car, the baby died from heat exhaustion. The white woman was never charged. Dieter sentenced a Black woman for 4 years in prison after leaving her child alone in the home. Both women were going to work. Dieter's is racist to me. Dieter's never charged white officers for killing unarmed Black men. Well, you know that I've been saying it ever since it happened, Jermaine. You and I think alike. Ever since that incident happened, I have been saying in whatever platform I was on, when I was in commercial radio, I'm saying the same thing I'm saying now. I am consistent that I don't know what child endangerment is anymore. Because if in Hamilton County, you can, oops, my bad, forget your child on one of the hottest days in one of the hottest months of the year here in Cincinnati, you can go to work, strap your baby in. Wake up in the morning, strap your baby into the car. Go get donuts, y'all. The woman went and got donuts. Drive to work. Get out the car. Pick up the donuts. Take the donuts into your job and leave your baby in a life-threatening position. The baby dies a grisly death. Can you imagine that? Where are all the pro-life people? Where's Dusty Rhodes and all these people talking about that? Where are all these pro-life people? You care so much about the baby, you ain't got nothing to say about what this woman did. And we're going back like a while now, like 11, 12 years ago, but still, it's still fresh in my mind and my heart. And Joe Dieter sympathizes with this woman and doesn't charge her Well, she's dealt with enough. Meanwhile, if you have a party and call it the F coronavirus party, and you refer to the governor as a white cracker, and you don't have a mask on, Joe Dieters charges you with a felony. And I don't know the details about that case, Jermaine, but that rings true to me. I do know there was a woman who like ran into Walmart for like 15, 20 minutes and left her kid out in the car. Charge you. I don't know what child endangerment is in Hamilton County. I have no idea what that means anymore. Because if I can leave my kid, so that's like saying that you're trying to teach your baby how to swim. And you put your baby, your little baby, maybe you got a little newborn or whatever, and you want to introduce your newborn to the water, which I don't agree with, but you go to a public pool, or maybe you're in your backyard swimming pool, and you go out into the middle of it, and then you just forget your baby, and just, because the phone rings, and you get out the pool, and you just answer the phone because you're waiting on a really, really important call from work. Your baby drowns, and you say, oops, my bad, I forgot. Now, some people might say, Nate, that's a ridiculous comparison. To me, it's the same. I am a parent. I've never forgotten my children. I'm never too busy to forget my kids. And when you forget your kids and their kids are impacted by your decision because you leave them in a dangerous situation, your ass should be charged for that. That was a white privilege kind of thing. She was a white professional woman with a doctorate. And she cried. I never would have did this on purpose, please. You just didn't want to be a mother anymore. That's how I look at it. You didn't want to be a mom anymore, and you came up with a creative way to get rid of your child. Or you were on drugs, because a lot of people do drugs before they go to work every day. A lot of people pop a pill. They smoke a blunt. They drink a little. They might even inject something before they go to work to help them get through the day. That's how addiction works. You don't feel normal until you get it in. That's what I think. I think the woman either had mental issues, had an addiction problem, or she purposely was looking for a way to get rid of her child. So this culture is so crazy. We live in a crazy culture. So I'm with you, Jermaine, 100%. I can't say enough about it. Joe Dieters has to go. We'll see if the black community can stand up for it. We'll see. Hopefully people don't listen to Frosty Rucker and the other fella. What's his name? Damn, I just seen it this morning. I was on... Really, I was on like Real Clear Politics, the Real Clear Politics page this morning. And what did I see? A Joe Dieters commercial came up, a digital ad came up. And who was it? It was a former Bengal talking about, you should vote for Joe Dieters. Man, if you don't go sit your ass down, why should we listen to you? You couldn't even deliver a championship down here smacking women. Get out of here, dude. Forgive me, but Judge Tracy Hunter was the straw that broke the camel's back. Dieters didn't want her over the juvenile court. Why? Money. What happened to Judge Hunter? Dieters drummed up charges, sent Judge Hunter to jail, and put someone else in a position. In my opinion, Joe Dieters spent way much time publicly, the Hamilton County Republican Party in general. They spent way much more effort and time to get Judge Tracy Hunter than they did to get the man who killed Sam DuBose. That's just my opinion. He was far more successful in drumming up some whack-ass charges to find a way to get her out of the juvenile court system. A lot of it was personal. I was told this by somebody very high in the Republican Party, that they had a personal issue with Tracy Hunter. I've said this before, ain't no big mystery. You know what I'm saying? The Republican leadership had a personal issue with Tracy Hunter, a personal issue with her. And they used taxpayer dollars. Shame on the Hamilton County commissioners for rubber stamping the money that the Hamilton County prosecutor's office spent when it came to the prosecution effort against Tracy Hunter, because there's a connection there, right? We noticed the Hamilton County commissioners, they hold the purse strings. We found out the commissioners was just rubber stamping whatever Joe just wanted to do. Like, oh, really? We did this? Yeah, you did this. All right. Be safe, black woman. Black woman's leaving. She got something to do today. So I'm with you 100%, Jermaine. Like I said, it's a no-brainer to me. But again, it was a no-brainer for me 15 years ago when they were both write-in candidates. You think I wrote in Joe Dieters' name? You'd have to be crazy. You have to be crazy to think I'm going to write in Joe Dieters' name. I mean, so again, I'm consistent. Some people have to mature and grow, and we all do them the same way. But some of this stuff is obvious, man. It's obvious. It's obvious. Joe Dieters, Fanon Rucker, it's not even a decision, in my opinion. It's not even a decision. It's very, very clear. Fanon Rucker all day, every day. All day, every day, 2 times a day, man. All day, every day, 2 times a day, 15 times if you can, as many times as possible. Okay, will do, Kelly, will do. Absolutely, appreciate that. Most def. Matter of fact, let me check out because, hey, what's up with you, 6 cents? Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Most def. Hey, Nakia, appreciate you. I'm looking forward to that opportunity. I'm definitely down for that. Most definitely. I'm kind of talking in code here, or not even code, just talking. Good morning to you. Grass and Rice, good morning, aka, hashtag alt middle. Of course, Grax and aka Black Russia, we're actually working on a podcast together, which I think it'd be pretty dope. Jermaine Rice Dieters is the lead prosecutor. He assigned the case to his friends. He had input on the Hunter case. Yeah. I mean, they had to stop Judge Trady Hunter because she gave her brother a piece of paper that you can access publicly, right? That was the whole big deal. She gave him a piece of paper that you could access publicly. What's the big deal about that? And they trumped up some charges, and in some cases, I think, destroyed and hid the evidence to try to get this sister. Like I said, I'm consistent. I know some people go back and forth. Tracy Hunter did this. Man, I don't want to hear all of that. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Period. Period. What happened with Tracy Hunter was wrong. I stand by what I've said over the years. I stand 100% in support of the notion that sister should have been a juvenile court judge. And what's so funny about it is there was some of the ideas that she put in place, like not shackling juveniles, were later adopted by the state of Ohio. So clearly she was on the right path. I know some of my lawyer friends and people that are very, very close, they have far more expertise in these matters than I do. May have, points here or there, but generally speaking, no, it was wrong. As a taxpayer in Hamilton County, I don't want my taxpayers going for nothing like that. Use my money wisely. That's all I'm saying. Angela writes, I already voted. My husband is going tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, I'm interested. Are you voting today or are you voting tomorrow? Sean writes, I'm voting tomorrow. Okay. Elizabeth writes, that is funny. I agree. Gets the goods before the election. I know there's some conversation about it, but I think that election day should be a national holiday so that there is so we can lift as many barriers to people to get to the polls as possible. Even though you got this, and I think they should widen the early voting time. We need give us another few weeks when it comes to early voting. Why not? What's it going to hurt? It's not going to hurt anything. All it's going to do is give us a more comprehensive election. That's it. It's going to be more comprehensive election results. More people can vote. That means that results are going to be reflective of more people. I have no problem with that. We should do it. You should be off all jobs. You should be off on election day so you can go vote. And you don't have to worry about, trying to get up there at 4 o'clock. And as soon as you get rushing and all that kind of stuff, make it as easy as possible. Not with special prosecutors. Dieters assigned case to outside prosecutors. He assigned it to his friends, T. Greg, please. Jasmine writes, I didn't say he endorsed Trump. I didn't like what he did, the way he did it, and I don't like the way he disparaged Kamala. I feel you. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't trying to say you said that. I was saying that I was like, Jasmine, I was saying that I've heard a lot of people who are defending Ice Cube, and what I've seen them do is they tend to lump all the criticism in together. And what I was just trying to say is I support the brother, but just criticize him on the hand that he played. You're a brother out here trying to leverage your celebrity for the betterment of your community. How could I be against that? I'm with 100%. That doesn't mean that you played your hand right. You didn't, Ice. And people that's rocking with Ice need to own up to that and just keep it real. Because you can say, listen, I support Ice, but he played his hand wrong. Or he played the wrong hand at the wrong time, I think is a better way of looking at it. I don't think that's a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's nothing negative. I'm not criticizing Ice. I'm saying I support the brother, but wrong hand, the wrong time. Let's go to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show. Oh, Hung up. Call me back if you like to. 513-873-7134. Angie writes, Ice Cube also lied. First, he said the Democrats did not want to hear him. Then he said they did, but he chose not to talk because it was with other people. Sounds like a Trump liar to me. Well, Angie, I don't know if I want to say the man lied. I can see why you're saying that. I really don't remember the timeline of everything as it came in. I do know that in that Roland Martin conversation that he had, that he made no mention of the fact that Kamala Harris and her group reached out to him. And in terms of how that conversation was going, I think he should have to be as completely transparent. So I get why you're saying he's lying. Maybe he forgot to bring it up or whatever. To me, that Roland Martin interview was the only interview you got to see. Roland Martin was super nice to Ice Cube. He was super nice. He could have roasted Ice Cube the way Daniel Cameron is getting roasted on Twitter right now. Have y'all seen this? Daniel Cameron is getting roasted over the weekend. Roasted? Like roasted marshmallows. You see this? Somebody, man, Daniel Cameron went on Twitter on Halloween and posted an image of him and his wife talking about have a happy Halloween holding pumpkins. Man, Twitter went in on his ass. They went in. And so did I. I had to pile on Twitter a little bit. I mean, you know, it's the nature of things. And then somebody put this together. Blink twice if you need help. Get out, Daniel. Get out. Get out, Daniel. You talk about tone deaf. Why would Daniel Cameron go on Twitter after his role in what happened with Breonna Taylor? And I'll tell you the latest. Have you heard the latest? One of the police officers that was injured in a Breonna Taylor raid, you won't believe what this white man is doing. You won't believe it. But I'll share with you in a second. But anyway, Daniel Cameron, who is married to this white woman here, I don't know her name. I think she's the nephew of the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, or the niece of the Senate, or granddaughter. Somehow she's related. I don't have the details about their relation. He posted this image talking about have a happy Halloween. Negro, have you lost your mind? You don't get to do that. Man, Twitter went in for hours and hours. Oh my God, it was so hilarious. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. It was so hilarious. I enjoyed it. I don't know who hit me to the game. Somebody was like, have you seen this? Maybe, again, I mean, whoever it was, I appreciate you. I just can't remember who it was, but somebody sent me a link or sent me an image like, have you seen this, Nate? No. Man, it was some fun stuff on Halloween. That's what I was doing during the day on Halloween. I was on that Twitter feed. That ish was hilarious, yo. That was some of the funniest ish ever. Blink twice if you need help. This was just one of the many of the funny ones that were there. This is just one of many. Yeah, I'm doing what Ohioans need to be doing in Hamilton County. I'm masking up and I'm at home. See how easy that is? Mask the fuck up. Simple as that, man. How easy is that? But they roasted Daniel, man, like marshmallows. It was hilarious. Let me see if I can find this real quick. It is worth your time, family. It is worth your time. It was one of the funniest shit I've seen on Twitter in a long time. It's way funnier than Ice Cube. Way funnier. He deserved every bit of it. You tone deaf, motherfucker, you. You non-caring, non-feeling, non-sympathetic motherfucker. It got me cursing here. I don't even want to curse. What in the hell is wrong with you, Daniel Cameron? What is wrong with you, black man, that you would even do something like this? Just complete, and had the nerve in his press conference talking about, I'm a black man, I understand the pain. And now you talking about some fucking happy Halloween with a pumpkin and your non-black wife. The hell? What in the hell? They let his ass have it. It was hilarious. Let me see if I can get a little closer. It was funny. Look at this. October 31st, happy Halloween from our family to yours. Now, does that mean to the Breonna Taylor family that you did not try to get justice for, Buster? What a buster. mean, they broke his ass down. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Twitter went in. See there, I had to, I had to get a little something. Happy Halloween. Are you kidding me? I had to say a little something on there, man. I see Drop is here too. Look at Drop, the Black Divide. It was hilarious. Drop is funny. Somebody named Sylvia Austin wrote, liar, 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 liar. Rabota, these memes are hilarious. Let me see if we can play this.
Fuck you and your family, bitch.
That's hilarious. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Let me give you a caveat. I'm getting beside myself with the comedy aspect of it. There will be some extreme language. I may play some extreme language. So if you're around kids, my apologies. I'm wrong. I get it. I take that. But you're going to hear some extreme language over the next, I'd say, 10 minutes or so as I play some of these memes. This is hilarious. Somebody writes, Happy Halloween, A.G. Cameron. We love you and what you do for the state of Kentucky. Somebody writes, future presidential candidate and deserves every bit of it, solid public servant. Notice these are all white people. Somebody wrote, how do you sleep at night knowing you let murderers walk free and torture the only surviving victim? Somebody writes, our next governor. Y'all is wrong, man. And then this right here was the best one. This is hilarious. They superimposed the actor from Get Out, his head over the face of Daniel Cameron. That's great. Oh, man, this was a lot of fun. People talking about the man's shoes. Your shoes might need an iron. Y'all hilarious. Even his pumpkin looks stupid. Y'all wrong for that, man. You gotta love Twitter. People talking about his wife. Black men do this a lot. That's why black women are leaving them. Oh boy, don't lump us all together, the sister. We no. That's that black man over there. Don't do that. Don't lump us all together because we no. We not all the same. Nope. We can't go with that one. We are not all the same. That's what that black man did. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. Look at y'all. Cool. Y'all so wrong, man. Oh my God. Did I take it off the screen? Let me put this back on. It just goes on and on and on for hours of just hilarity. If you for a chuckle today, just go to Daniel Cameron's stream on Twitter and just chuckle. Just chuckle. What is this right here?
The Negro is innocent in his ignorance. The Negro think Jesus is white. The Negro think white people are smarter. It's not his fault. He's been miseducated, Charlemagne. But the coon is dangerous. The coon knows Jesus wasn't white. The coon knows white people are not superior to blacks, but they will act like they are because they're going to get something for doing so. The coon consciously sells out his people. The Negro does it out of ignorance. I can work with a Negro. Never trust the coon.
Damn. Facts this morning. Damn. I didn't remember that part of the interview on the Breakfast Club. I didn't remember that part. Damn. I don't have no tears for Daniel Cameron. He gets what he gets, period. I ain't got no tears for your partner. Man, they roasted this man in ways that we have not seen before. It was, again, if you're like, what is this? I'm on Twitter. Go check it out for yourself, man. It's all there.
Little bit of white coon chip will activate. It only takes a little bit of white brainwash to activate the coon chip in the average Negro.
The coon chip? What? Wait. Is this something new? The coon chip? Where they do that at? Oh, man. Oh, the Daniel Cameron's like in a little ball somewhere, but we know he's not. He said the coon chip. What is this, some old bionic man type shit? What is this? The coon chip? What the hell? And it just goes on and on and on and on and on, man. It just goes on and on. I mean, like I said, you could tell I'm getting a kick out of it because I think that it was a miscarriage of justice what happened to Breonna Taylor in a very serious way. I think that somebody should have been held responsible. And the fact that they were not, I blame him. And now we're reading this morning, family. Guess what we're reading this morning? Now we're reading this morning that the officer that was shot in the leg that broke into this man's house, of course he was dealing with official business, is now suing this man. I'll give you the details in just a second. 513-873-7134. I mean, I can't make this ish up, man. I can't make this ish up. I thought that Brother Forte made an excellent point when he called in. We were talking about this. We were talking about, like, because ABC has some exclusive interviews. Shout out to Gayle King. I know a lot of black people don't have her because she asked the obvious question about Kobe Bryant. She kept it real, and people didn't like it. But she did an excellent interview with the boyfriend who was involved that night in the shooting with Breonna Taylor. Hold on. Pull it right here so I can speak intelligently on it. So a Louisville police officer has filed a lawsuit against the boyfriend of Breonna Taylor. Have you heard about this? It just came out the last couple days, over the weekend. So it was Gayle King who did an interview with Kenneth Walker. And I came back and I told you that after watching that interview, I believe Kenneth Walker even more. Anybody who believes that this black man laying in the bed with his lady watching Netflix early in the morning just decided to shoot at police officers who announced themselves is racist. It's racist for you to believe that. I do not believe that. I am a black man. I know plenty of black people. Black people are not trying to shoot at police officers. That's a good way to fuck up your life. And black folks ain't got time for that. Most black people don't want to deal with police at all. So if police hit the door, police, then people are going to go to the door. Raise your hand if you hear a loud knock at your door early in the morning or late in the evening, however you want to look at it. Real aggressive knocking on the door. And you hear somebody say, "It's the police." Raise your hand if you're going to just fire a shot at the door. You're not, because it's the police. You want to know what's going on. Wait a minute, let me go here. Because everybody knows that shooting the police is probably hazardous to your health and your immediate to long-term future plans. You're going to change your life. Everybody knows this. So to believe that this black man heard the police announce themselves and then fired a shot at them is racist. That's right up there with believing the nonsense in Birth of a Nation. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. After watching the interview, I believe him 100%. I believe everything the man said. So as the story goes, they get up, he and Breonna Taylor in the hallway where she later was shot right there in her own hallway. As soon as they hit the hallway to go see what happens, the door flings open. Cops there. He fires. Scared. He's scared. He's scared, man. They got this game out right now. It's one of the most popular video games online right now. It's called Warzone. It's like team-based sort of simulated combat, right? There are times in that game where you playing it, and this is all a video game, by the way, right? You got team members, and one of your team members might come around a corner or open the door and startle you, and you fire. And you playing a fucking game. Can you imagine in real life? He was scared. He didn't hear him. They didn't announce themselves. I don't believe they announced themselves. I don't believe you go get a no-knock warrant and then say, police. That doesn't make any sense. I don't believe it one bit. I believe what the brother said, 100%. Well, anyway, when he fired that round, and he said he fired the round at the ground because he was trying to scare somebody and not kill him, which makes sense because when he fired the round, he shot Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly in the leg. Now, Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly has filed a suit against Kenneth Walker, saying that Walker committed battery, assault, and intentional emotional distress. So you essentially, and again, I don't think we can call it a break-in, legally speaking. Some of the sharp legal minds out there would have to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's fair to call it a break-in, although from Kenneth Walker, maybe it is fair, because Kenneth Walker was never charged. Initially, he was charged, they dropped the charges. So from Kenneth Walker's perspective, somebody breaks into his house, kicks open his door, He fires a warning shot because it could have been a torso shot. It could have been a headshot. Hits you in the leg, and then you're going to sue him for causing intentional emotional distress. Brother Forte made a great point a few weeks back that the person that Jonathan Mattingly should be upset with are the people that got the warrant in the first place. That's who you should be mad at, because they put you in harm's way for no real reason. You break into this woman's apartment, she ain't committed no crime, looking for somebody that she's no longer associated with, and you know that because packages might be coming. Well, why don't you wait until the mail comes? Why don't you get her when she's coming home from work? They break into the home, they find no packages, they let this woman with no medical attention let her expire. Oh, she's done. That's a direct quote from one of the officers on the scene. Oh, she's done. No care whatsoever. And now you got the nerve to sue this man. That's because he doesn't have the nerve to go after the real people that put him in harm's way. And that's the people inside the Louisville Police Department that got the warrant in the first place. I thought Forte made an excellent point when he called in a couple of weeks ago. That's just me, though. What do you think? 513-873-7134. We're covering a lot of ground. I want to remind you, tomorrow, starting at 4 p.m., CDM, Central Media, is doing a Black Voter Push/watch party. I will be your host starting at 4 p.m. We'll talk about everything leading up to the election, and then we will rock together as the election results come in. I'm prepared to go from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. Now, I'm not saying we will, but I'm prepared to do that. All right, so join me. I know there's other folks out there, a lot of really good people doing streams as well. That is great. Check everybody out. Support everyone. It's all an effort in the same place. But I want to make sure you definitely support what we're doing here at CDM and support yours truly and check out the stream. I got some plans for you that I think you'll really enjoy. And I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. But for now, I got to take a quick break. We'll come right back. Don't go anywhere. Live, local, and vocal. The last honest place in Cincinnati media. It's the Nathan Ivey Show.
So many Democrats voting for Charlie Winburn. Democrat Malcolm Timmons.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he's a man that does what he says he's going to do, and he gets things done for our community.
Democrat Nettie Matthews.
Of course I'm voting for my brother Charlie Winburn because he cares about the black community.
Democrat Paul Booth.
I'm voting for my longtime friend Charlie Winburn. He will put people over party.
Democrat Zakiya Allen.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he has a positive track record in our community.
Democrat Charles Wiley.
I am voting for Charlie Winburn because he would be accountable to us.
Democrat Klein Carricker.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he helps to train hundreds of African Americans through his leadership masterclass.
Democrat Jafanya Wynn.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he cares about women with children, providing child care and a school for K through 8th graders.
Democrat T. Renee.
I want to see the first African-American county treasurer elected after 230 years.
Vote Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer.
Paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
Senator Cecil Thomas asking you to vote for Charmaine McGuffey for Sheriff of Hamilton County. As a former police officer, I know Charmaine is the only qualified candidate to be sheriff. She stands with our community and will lead with accountability. Her opponent used excessive force in the killing of an unarmed black man and led the highly controversial Vortex unit. He is the last person we need to lead our sheriff's office. Trust the judgment of someone who knows. Vote Charmaine McGuffey for sheriff, a vote for justice.
This is Charmaine McGuffey asking for your vote. Paid for by people for McGuffey for sheriff.
Jill Schiller has been missing in action, and now we know why. Did you know that Jill Schiller, candidate for Hamilton County Treasurer, got away with a dangerous offense? Her friends and connections at Cincinnati City Hall turned their heads when she was racing through a Cincinnati public school zone doing 52 in a 20-mile-an-hour zone. She could have killed a child. As a mother of 3, that's concerning. 25,000 children are injured each year because of speeding in a school zone. 100 children are killed in school zones each year by people like Schiller. Schiller should have served 5 days in jail as the law states, but being privileged kept her out while you, the public, would have gone to jail. Her friends and connections at City Hall only fined her $60, and they quickly destroyed the evidence the next day. We cannot trust Schiller with our school children. Should we trust her to protect and safeguard our tax dollars? Vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer. We can trust him to safeguard our tax dollars and our children.
Paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
Who is Judge Melba Marsh, you ask? She serves at the behest of our community and strives to maintain a fair and balanced courtroom based solely on the facts, with an understanding that rehabilitation is often a more valuable decision than incarceration. Not all the battles involving Black Lives Matter occurred outside of the courthouse. There are major battles occurring inside the courthouse too. Judge Marsh has been fighting for change her whole life. She's been in the system fighting for equal justice. She's been affected by it, had to fight to be respected. For example, she was part of the commission to undertake judicial reforms in 1999. She has taken the lead in diversifying juries with younger people and minorities. While some folks talk about these reforms, she has lived it and furthers them each day in her courtroom.
Paid for by Committee to Re-elect Judge Melba Marsh.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
You're listening to The Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now, let's get back to the flow.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Please like and in particular share today's show. I'll say it again. When you share the show, more people see it. Quite frankly, appreciate you in advance as we build our platform here, Sin Digital Media. And again, if you don't know, I'll say it again. The mission is very simple. Amplify Black voices. Very, very simple. Amplify Black voices. If anybody asks, so what is CDM all about? Why did they do this? To amplify Black voices. There's so many creative, talented people in the greater Cincinnati area and beyond. And I'd love to work with you. If you ever thought about doing a podcast or a live stream show, perhaps we can work together and do something. I would love it. You can hit me up with a direct message. You can direct message CDM as well. To that effort, I partnered with Shanghai Imaging, and we are looking for an opinionated female relationship host, or should I say an opinionated female to be the host for a new relationship pod. And that's a live stream pod. What we're asking for, if you're interested, is to make a video, no more than 3 minutes. Tell us about yourself, why you think you'd be perfect for something like this, and also tell us an interesting dating story. We're going to take those videos, put them on CDM's Facebook page, and then allow you, the audience, to have a say, to have a vote. We're talking about voting. You can vote on who the next great host of this relationship pod may be. And we've gotten some really interesting messages and interest already. But we definitely want you to, we're going to give you a timeline as well and a deadline. If you're interested to send us a video, by us, I mean CDM, go to Facebook. You can direct message me and we'll take a look at it. And if it passes that first round of scrutiny, we'll put it up on the Facebook page and allow you, the audience, to vote on who you think it should be. That should be a lot of fun. Again, there's a lot of podcasts out there, but I've never seen a relationship podcast with the idea that we have in mind. And it could be a lot of fun out there. There's a lot of different voices, politics, and this and money and whatever. That'll be something new, and I hope something fun that you can get into. And I'll give you more details, and you'll see the videos as they come in. All right. When you see that promo, please share it with someone who you think might be interested, or you think might, like maybe we're describing a friend of yours or someone that you know. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. You can leave a comment. We will reach out. You can also directly, if you want to, you feel more comfortable, you can directly message Shanghai Imaging on Facebook as well and let them know. But in terms of the video, we want to put those videos up on Sin Digital Media's Facebook page so everybody, all our Facebook friends can see it and then potentially vote on it as well. That should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about that. Should be a lot. I keep saying it should be a lot of fun. We need that sometime. So looking forward to it. It is 3 minutes to the top of the hour. I have executed all of my duties with my clients and partners. And I feel good about that. I want to make sure that we do, and I do exactly what I say that I'm going to do. I'm not perfect. There's a lot I don't know. I make mistakes. I do all kind of stuff. But I like to think that if I say I'm going to do something, that I actually do it. That's very, very important to me. I ain't trying to be perfect. Nobody is. But if I say I'm going to do something, if I tell a partner, and sometimes our partners are not always willing to, able to listen to every single show, we will execute just as we scheduled to do so. So I'm very happy about that. A shout out to all the partners and the folks that I work with at their podcasts. A lot of great, talented people. If you're not aware of it, go to CDM, that's Sin Digital Media's page, and check it out for yourself. A lot of very strong voices and people that have something to say. And we're just getting started. I see more and more activity in that digital space. And I'll be honest with you, I love it. I love it. That's what time it is. I think there's room for everybody. I really, really do. And I wish everybody the best. I want you to make sure you know about what I'm doing, what we're doing, and it can be yet another option for you in terms of what you do on a daily basis. So again, please like and share today's show and all the shows. It means everything. It means everything. CG Dub writes, good morning, choppers. Brother Zone writes, that intimidation on the highway with the Biden bus, the Trump clan game was ridiculous. Yeah, I haven't really touched it too much, but of course that did happen. The Biden bus was surrounded by Trump supporters. FBI is investigating right now to see if there are any laws that were broken. Trump supporters surrounded the Biden bus campaign bus in Texas. And I can see that happen in Texas because Texas has been a long-time stronghold of the Republican Party. It took someone like Trump to open up Texas to possibly being flipped. Although I do know this, that the Democrats have been working really, really hard for some time in Texas on the ground to try to flip it. So this ain't just happening in a vacuum. You know, there've been people who've been working for that effort for some time now. And it looks like, they have had some success. I know that to be a fact. And it took somebody like Trump perhaps to maybe tip the scales. We'll have to wait and see. The FBI said that on Sunday, or they said Sunday, that its San Antonio office is investigating an incident after video of a caravan of Trump supporters surrounding, then following a Biden campaign bus emerged. Now, Trump retweeted part of the video and he wrote, "I love Texas." So Trump encourages violence and intimidation when it benefits him. We know this about Trump. This ain't nothing new. We know this about Trump. If it benefits Trump, he's willing to do and say whatever it takes. It doesn't really matter. Whether that means working with the Russians, he'll work with the Russians. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. They'll do and say whatever it takes. So now the FBI are, and Trump is such a liar, rather than condemn these actions, Trump called his supporters patriots and claimed that they were protecting the bus. I'm not making it up. I'm not making it up. Now, the FBI, this is the Trump FBI, is investigating the incident to see what happened. I don't think that they were, protecting a damn thing, in my opinion. In my opinion, I don't think they were protecting a damn thing. I think they were trying to intimidate the Biden campaign. Now, I don't know who was on the bus, but I do know that Joe Biden was scheduled to do a speech, have a rally. I don't know if they postponed it, but they canceled it. I'm not sure if he's going to do it and make up the time. My first impulse would be, man, screw these backwater bubbas. You ain't going to stop me from doing what I do. My first impulse would have been to do it anyway. That's just how I'm made. But I get it. You know, other people involved in safety and things like that. I'm looking at it right now. Have you seen this? It's wild. We have a call on the line. Let's take it. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Is this Mike?
Excuse me?
Who am I speaking with?
Mike.
Yeah, Mike. I thought it was Mike. Hey, good morning to you, Mike.
Hey, how you doing today, bud?
Doing great.
What the polls don't tell is they ain't very accurate. They weren't accurate in the last election. They always predict the wrong candidate off the popular vote, but what they don't count on is the Republican turnout.
Well, that's hard to predict until you get the exit polls, right?
All right. Well, the Republicans turned out very strong, and CBS actually did a poll, and they said everything but that they're predicting a Trump win if the Republicans turn out. And you know Republicans turn out to vote on voting day. That's their day to vote. That's when they hit the polls.
Mm-hmm.
And then you forget the silent majority. I mean, due to all the lawlessness, in Portland and all those, people are going to tend to vote for law and order.
Law and order? Trump is not a law and order president. He says law and order, but he's broken more laws than any got all these lawsuits. All these folks have gone to jail and been indicted. He's not a law and order president. That's just something to say.
Well, they all say it. I mean, but
yeah,
what crimes has Trump broke? What laws have Trump broke? Nobody can say it.
Well, I mean, we do know that there was an effort to impeach him.
Right, but what was that based off of?
It was based off of, and again, I don't want to be misquoted here. I can't tell you exactly for the letter of the word, but it was because he was improperly using the influence of the White House as the president for his own personal gain in terms of impacting the election. I mean, I know the allegation was, and not even allegation, there was a lot of facts. Like, you do know that the only reason why that he wasn't impeached is because the Republicans had a majority in the Senate, right? You do realize that.
And it's the same reason for Clinton. The reason why he wasn't impeached because Democrats had a majority.
But we're not talking about Clinton, though, Mike. We're talking about Trump. I'm saying you do know that there was credible information that what the Democrats accused Trump of doing, that he actually did it. And the only reason why he wasn't impeached is because the Republicans had a majority in the Senate.
Well, they first tried to use the Russian dossier, right?
And we do know there was facts inside that, what Mueller was doing, it was facts in that.
Well, they like, even the FISA court judges said they would have never granted an investigation into his campaign if it wasn't for the falsification and unverified salacious data that was used on it.
What falsification? What data was falsified? That's news to my ears.
Well,
I don't remember any of that.
Well, you do have a FBI. I can't remember the person's title, but they actually pled guilty to falsifying emails.
Falsifying emailers? What are you talking about?
Yes, you can look it up. There's a FBI agent that gave Sorry, Rock, I want to put you up. I've got a parrot flying around me. My bad.
And listen, I understand we talking about things that you may not have like the specifics on, so I give you that as well.
Oh, I mean, if you look it all up, I mean, the FISA court judges said they never would have granted the warrants to investigate Trump if it wasn't for, the falsification data. And James Comey has recently came out and said that he didn't know none of this was going on and that it wasn't unverified data. I mean, that was in the Senate hearing.
No, I remember any of that.
I mean,
I don't remember any of that.
You can look it up. I mean, it's out there. I mean, you can see it.
I've looked it up. I followed the entire thing. We talked about it almost letter for letter here on the show. So I don't remember any of that. What I remember...
Well, James Comey's on record saying, I didn't know. I wasn't aware of this.
Yeah, but James Comey wasn't the FBI director when the Mueller investigation was going on.
But he was the FBI director when the investigation was going on.
The FBI director when the Mueller investigation was going on was appointed by Donald Trump.
Oh, it was Rod Rosenstein.
Well, Rod Rosenstein.
But I'm saying before, like, we're going back into the Obama administration when all this was granted into.
Right, and do you remember how this whole Mueller thing started? Because I do.
The whole Mueller investigation?
Yeah,
it was based off the Russian dossier, which was verified salacious.
See, that's a big misnomer. It wasn't based on the Russian dossier. It was based off the fact that somebody who was Russian working for Trump in the campaign was talking loose in a bar in Australia, and it got back to U.S. intelligence services, i.e. the FBI. And it opened the door for an investigation as to what the man said, and they found more and more and more and more. That's what happened.
That's not what the FISA court judges say.
I don't even remember what the FISA court just said. I'm just telling you that's how it started.
Well, it started off on trying to get in, and I mean, it was based on unmasking, that Joe Biden didn't have no knowledge of, but his name's on the unmasking report. I mean, his name's number 16 or 15 or something like that.
Right.
But his name's right there, and they were all basically, it was a jump in through General Flynn.
Yeah. General Flynn, I'm glad you
And
brought him up. That's a man who, what happened to him?
Actually, all charges were dropped, and he is now pressing charges on other people.
No, we know the result, but I'm saying what happened to him?
Oh, his life went through hell. He had to plead guilty because the FBI was threatening to investigate his sons and stuff like that.
Is that what happened?
I mean, read it. It's out there. I mean, his lawyer is currently
information going on out there.
suing.
I feel like there's
His
a lot
lawyer
of
is currently
information
suing.
going on out there. I mean, General Flynn, who was the National Security Advisor, pled guilty to basically being a double agent, which is facts.
Oh, he pled guilty. I mean, but it was under. He pled not. I mean, if you actually go through the whole thing, even FBI agents said they didn't have nothing on him. I mean, they basically threatened his son to get to what they wanted, the outcome that they wanted.
I think that's something I don't know where you're getting that from, but I don't remember any of that. That's new
It's out there.
information.
You can research it. I mean, I ain't gonna tell you how to be. You son of a bitch. Sorry.
Yeah, that's.
But it's all out there. I mean, and then if you want to say abuse of power, I mean, Joe Biden publicly said, that he got an investigator, the prosecutor in Ukraine fired, threatened $1 billion, to withhold $1 billion if they didn't fire him, which is of public interest of his because his son was currently on the board of Burisma.
So point in fact is, and these are facts, because I think we get into a lot of opinion, but the facts is that under the Trump administration, the so-called law and order president, way more people in his cabinet have either been indicted and in some cases have been found criminally responsible, like his lawyer, Michael Cohen, and other folks. Way more than happened under the Obama-Biden campaign, or shall I say administration. Way more.
You have biased media that don't report everything equally. I mean, you even got to admit, media is biased.
Well, it depends on what you mean by bias. So if you go to Fox News, Fox News is biased.
Oh, that's why I don't watch Fox. I take my news from all sources. I mean, I listen to you for a reason.
Right. But I'm just saying, I mean, when people say the media is biased, what do you mean by that? Like the media isn't biased against Trump.
Media leans left. I mean, they push political agenda.
No, it doesn't.
It's no longer a government watchdog.
Oh, yes, of course it is.
But when you heard the Russian dossier, was it plastered all over the news?
When we heard about the Russian dossier, was it flashed all over the news? Yeah. I remember there was a lot.
Okay, what about the Biden laptop?
Say what in?
What about the Biden laptop?
What about the Biden laptop? What are we missing? What about it?
You had the tech overlords censoring information about it, right? They blocked the New York Post.
What?
They blocked Greenwald from reporting. That's the co-founder of The Intercept. That's one of the most reliable left papers out there, right?
Which makes my point, actually.
What's your point?
Well, just
there
said
is not media bias.
Let's talk about The Intercept, because I subscribe to The Intercept. I think they do great work. So how would you describe?
Well, one of the co-founders just quit.
I know, but but again, that makes my point. So you just said that the media leans left. Well, the media leans
right.
left.
Why did the co-founder quit,
left, Mike? Then why did Glenn Greenwald just leave The Intercept? Because if there was ever a left-leaning organization, it would be The Intercept, right?
Right.
Okay.
Did you read the article why he quit? Did you read the statement?
I did read the statement. I read over the weekend. So he just left The Intercept because he claims that they censored him. So why would why would a left-leaning independent news organization that's in the bag for Joe Biden, why would they get rid of this dude?
What was the article he wrote on that led to him quitting?
Well, he claims, and again, I did read the article, but in the article, he claims that it was something that was more critical than what he had previously written for The Intercept. But I read
it was on the Biden laptop.
But I read the article and had been reading and following his work. It was no more critical than anything else that was on The Intercept. Did you read The Intercept and what the reason why they decided they had an issue with him? It was on editorial grounds, on facts. It wasn't the general what he had to say. They had exception with some of the facts that he was writing about.
But he had a clause in that, right? Since he was one of the co-founders, he had a non-editorial agreement. He could post whatever he wanted. Yeah, and he actually did an article. It's the same reason why he got censored on Facebook. Why Facebook censored. He wrote an article on the Biden laptop.
I don't know why Facebook censored it. All I'm saying is that if you're a credible news organization, whether you're a founder or not, you should not be allowed to publish things that everybody knows is not facts just because it fits what you want to write in your article. What kind? That's
And
biased
so we go
news.
back to the Russian dossier, right?
That's biased news. When you say that would be biased?
I think all media is biased. I mean, I listen to everything. I watch everything. I don't much care for Fox because it's more opinion than anything anymore. Same with MSNBC and CNN.
Well, it depends on what you're watching, but there's a slant in a lot of the particular hosts and things like that. But to say that the media is overall to the left, man, we way past those days. It was never true, but it certainly ain't true today.
Oh, but back to the polling.
Yeah.
I mean, the CBS, they came out with a poll that did basically say Trump will win if the Republican turnout is as good as they think it's going to be. And Biden's already said, multiple times, like states like Ohio and Pennsylvania, we got money in fracking. That's where we get a lot of our money from. He's already said he was going to phase out their jobs. He's on public record saying it. And when he goes to Pennsylvania, he's like, no, I'm not. But he's on public record saying he is. So which is it?
I can't speak to that. But you're saying CBS did a poll and said that if the turnout comes out, Trump will win. I mean, you could say the same thing about Biden. You could say, look, if Democrats turn out, Biden might win. So, that seems to be very, very general. I could say, yeah, that's true, but I could say that about any candidate.
Well, think about COVID. How many people, you ain't going to have the COVID turnout. For COVID, you ain't going to have the turnout from the left that you will from the right.
Why would you say that?
Because most people are too scared.
Too scared to do what?
They injected too much fear.
They injected.
That's why. That's why you got all these people saying go out and vote, go out and go out and vote. It's because they know they have already initiated all this fear that people might not turn out.
That's one way of looking at it.
You yourself. You kind of get freaky about people not wearing masks. I
don't get freaky. I get
if you were standing next to me in a line, I don't wear a mask everywhere.
No, correction, Mike. I don't get freaky. I get angry because you got these irresponsible humans out there that are willing to put my life in danger. So I don't get free. I get mad about it.
Well, I don't wear a mask everywhere, and they can't keep me from voting.
Well, you be one of the people.
So you see me in line, what are you going to do?
If it was up to me, we'd be incarcerating you. If it was up to me.
Well, you'd violate my HIPAA rights and my personal protections because it's your feelings.
No, it's not about feelings. It's about public health. So you're going to put my life in danger because of your personal beliefs? Hell no.
Well, I have the same rights as you, correct?
Well, no, you don't have the right to knowingly spread the HIV virus, do you?
Well, that's not true. A lot of these states are allowing people to not have disclosure over HIV.
Not true. If you go out there and you knowingly have sex with somebody and you give them HIV, you're going to have to deal with legal consequences. You don't have the right to do that. So if you don't have the right to do that,
Georgia changed
you
their
should
law.
not have the right to give me COVID just because you have some personal belief about it.
Well, I don't have COVID. I've already gotten tested a few times.
I'm just saying. So that's how I feel about it. It's in line with that kind of stuff. If you're knowingly HIV positive, and you have unprotected sex with somebody knowingly, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. Why should COVID be anything different?
Well, you have to prove that you knowingly have it, though, right?
Well, at least be responsible and put a mask on. How hard is that?
Well, it might cause me breathing issues, right?
No.
You're going to prevent me from voting because I might have trouble breathing? I show up to the polls.
You're not going to have no
trouble. I want my vote to count. I want to put my vote in. I want to make sure it's there.
And mask up. Mask up or mail-in vote.
You have no problem taking services from me, though, right?
It depends on the service. It's got to be necessary. Are you not coming to my house?
Well, it might. A virus could enter your house. Have you ever played with bioluminescence?
No.
You know what bioluminescence is?
I think I do.
It's a chemical that reacts to black light. You could see it under black light.
Right.
Get some. Put some all over some chips and stuff like that around your house, just secretly, and watch how it spreads.
Okay.
Watch how fingerprints move everywhere, and you got to imagine this even seeps out into the public.
Okay. All the more reason to mask up and wash your hands and wear gloves.
Well, I do wash my hands religiously, man.
Okay. So you wash your hands and put a mask on your face, Mike, when you go out in public.
Well, it causes me breathing issues.
Breathing issues? You don't have no damn breathing issues. Then get the kind of mask.
I have COPD.
You have what?
COPD.
Oh, okay. Well, stop smoking, number one. You a smoker?
I used to be.
Okay, well, that's what caused your breathing issues. And then number two,
all right. So, but I do have a breathing issue, right? So, okay. And it does interfere with my breathing.
Still, well, getting COVID is going to really impact your breathing issues. Trust me. So just to
I
protect
mean,
yourself,
I ain't gonna be able to
mask up.
stop it. I mean, I still got to go out and work and perform services, right? I still got to provide income.
Put on a mask when you do it.
Well, I stay 10 feet away from everybody at work. I mean,
That's only half the battle, man. Put on a mask. It's real easy.
well, what if I can't breathe? Then I can't work. Then I can't provide income. Then I don't pay taxes, and then other people don't get their income.
Did you have those issues when you had a mask on?
What's that?
Not
Breathing?
being,
Yes.
Not being
Because
able
I
to breathe.
sweat, and the sweat builds up. It's kind of like waterboarding.
Well, then get multiple masks. Keep like 4 or 5 dry ones in your pocket or in a plastic bag.
Oh
That way
man,
you
I
can
work in
change
hot.
it out.
It's hot. I mean, you can keep 100 masks, you're still going to get through them.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you don't want to do what you need to do to protect yourself. And so therefore the government has to protect me from people like you.
That's not the government's job because I have civil liberties. I mean, everybody says they understand the Constitution, but what they don't understand about the Constitution is it grants me civil liberties. You don't have to be around me. I don't have to be around you. That's our civil liberty.
No.
That's what grants me my freedoms.
That's not quite how it works, Mike. No, it doesn't. You don't have a civil liberty to give me COVID. You don't have a civil liberty to do that. I'm sorry. Just like you don't have a civil liberty.
I have a civil liberty to live my life.
Just like you don't
Just
have
like
a civil
you have
liberty.
the civil liberty. I told you, our rights are unanimous. They're universal. They work for everybody.
Driving around in your car.
I ain't going to tell somebody how to live.
Okay. You let the government tell you how to live all the time. When you go to stores. Look, wait. Mike, let's stop the nonsense. Do you wear a seatbelt when you're driving around?
I do that for safety.
You do that. No, you do that.
I do that for my own personal safety, and it'd be an example to my kids.
Okay, so let me.
But also, one of my kids also have a health issue with their lungs, and wearing a mask. I mean, I've already got into it at school. She's already got her exemption and everything.
When you go,
you don't have to wear a mask.
When you go into a business to buy goods and services, do you wear shoes? Do you wear shirts? Do you wear clothes?
Yeah, that's because you don't want to see my body naked. That's just me being nice to you.
That's because if you didn't, they wouldn't let you inside, Mike. You realize that, don't you?
Depends on the business. Depends where you're at.
I don't know a business that's going to let you walk in there without a T-shirt, without a shirt on, and without socks and shoes. You walk in barefooted, they're liable to not give you goods and services. That's their rules. How is that any different if a business says, listen, wear a mask in here? What's the difference?
It depends on the business and the enforcement. It's like, look, I've already had it up with a few companies, Starbucks, Graders, on mask policy. They got managers trying to enforce a policy they don't have. I've already went in and ripped them a new one, and I've actually gotten 2 people fired.
If I was you ain't gonna get nobody fired. This is doing a pandemic. If I was a manager, I wouldn't even let you in. I call the police on you. You can't come in here and give us COVID-19 without a mask.
The police ain't going to enforce it. Police, it's not enforceable, right? It's a mandate. It's not law. And 2, the managers have to go by corporate policy. Corporate sets the policy, not the manager.
Okay.
So yes, they can kick me out, and it's exactly why they've terminated people, because they ain't following corporate policies.
Okay. So you saying they kicked you out or they didn't kick you out?
They kicked me out.
Yeah, they did the right thing.
And I've been back in since.
And I would kick your ass out too. And if I had to lock the door, you wouldn't come back in here and give us COVID. Job be damned. You're not going to give me COVID and claim that you got some liberty to do so. It ain't going to happen, Mike.
No, I keep my distance. That's up to us as individuals to respect other people's distance.
You must
not
know how the disease is being transferred. Do you understand how the COVID is spread?
You understand how mask works?
I'm saying, do you understand how COVID is spread?
Well, through aerosols.
Okay, then. So 10 feet.
You understand how a mask works, right?
Obviously, because I'm suggesting that you wear one. You're the one that's not wearing it. I got a mask on
right
right
but
now.
You understand how a mask works, right?
I think I do. It stops people from
the size of
COVID. Yes,
the size of COVID is 50 to 200 nanos, right? The mask can only filter, especially all these masks that people are wearing, can only filter up to 300. So your spit and your aerosols are going through your mask. There's a study on it, 2014. You can look it up.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Is it possible to get into a car accident and get seriously injured even if you have a seatbelt on?
Yes.
Then you still wear it, don't you?
Only for an example for my children.
Yeah, you wear it for safety. Same logic when it comes to a mask. It ain't perfect, but it offers you some level of protection. We grown folks, Mike. I shouldn't have to tell you this, man.
It's how you feel about it, right? I mean, it's
and logic. And
if you think that mask, the logic tells you that it don't work. If you read the articles, they tell you it don't work. If you read the actual scientific data behind it, they don't work.
Logic tells us that it's not perfect, but it does offer some level of protection.
Staying inside offers some level of protection too, correct?
You got that option.
Not leaving at all?
I mean, for
right.
you,
So everybody has
I wish you
options.
would
Everybody
stay
has
inside.
choices.
I don't want you to go outside because you out here spreading COVID and you don't give a damn.
I don't have COVID, so how can I spread something I don't have?
Well, you don't know if you have COVID or not.
I'm pretty sure I know because I've just recently gotten tested.
Okay. Well, as
and people that wear masks get COVID.
You don't know if you're going to.
I mean, I know some of the biggest liberals in my kids' school have actually gotten COVID. So, I mean, and they wear masks everywhere.
All the more reason to wear a mask, man.
It didn't help them.
Do it for the yeah, but what's your point? What's your point?
Well, my point is I have the liberty to be around just as you do, right?
Not and give me a disease, no.
Now, how do you know somebody like your wife ain't going to bring it home? She's an educator, right? How do you know she won't bring it home?
She might. I don't know.
How do you know your kids won't bring it home? Right. See?
What I do know is that my family, when we go out in public, like my wife right now is out in public, she got a mask on. I know that. That's
but
what
does she go out and eat?
Say what now?
Does she eat out?
No.
You guys don't eat out at all?
No.
You don't order in?
No.
You get all your food from somebody?
We get it from...
Food's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah. Listen, long story short is that when we're in public, we mask up. And that's what I suggest you do, Mike. I can tell you not because you're incorrigible. You're talking about your liberties and all this other nonsense. Wear a mask, man.
So you don't believe in liberties?
Well, what makes you think I don't believe in liberties?
Well, it's because if you don't respect my liberties, and what makes people have to respect yours? You know what I'm saying? See, it's mutual.
It is mutual, and I think that we mutually should be wearing a mask. That way, I put up a barrier from giving you what I have, and you put up a barrier from giving me what you have. That's what I think. It's real simple, Mike. Wear a mask, man. But I got to make a move, brother. I really appreciate the conversation, man. Wear a mask.
Hey, Nate, it's always good listening to you, man.
Yeah, for sure, Mike. Take it easy, man. Put your mask on.
Take it easy, bud.
Put your mask
I might,
on,
just
bro.
for you.
Take it easy. That's Mike out here with no mask on. Put your damn mask on, Mike.
Have a good one.
Mike is hilarious, man. Listen, I got my George Floyd tailor-made, by the way. Go to boldwriting.com. Tailor-made. Check me out. Yeah, white folks look at me some kind of way when I wear this. Put your mask on, people. It's real simple, man. It's easy. Make these things easy. I got to make a move. It's almost 10:30. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. We'll chop it up tomorrow. Of course, I'll be with you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7:30 a.m. We'll chop it up on everything going on. All right. Then, of course, again, tomorrow at 4 p.m., Send Digital Media is doing a Black Voter Push / watch party. And I know there's a lot of watch parties going on. Make sure you support everybody. I think more is good. As many platforms that speak to us is a great thing. But I want you to know that I'll be with you on tomorrow starting at 4 p.m. for the Black Voter Push / watch party. I've got some really, really exciting and special things exclusively for you planned. Make sure you check it out. You might want to tune in and maybe go somewhere else and come back and forth. That is gravy. It's all good. But I want you to know I will be with you and be here for you tomorrow. We'll chop up on everything that's happening pre-election. When the votes come in after the election, we might go from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. tomorrow. Who knows? All right. But either way, I'll be with you and we'll check it all out tomorrow morning. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. All right. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the show on Facebook, our feed on Send Digital Media. That way, when any of these videos are uploaded or live streams are uploaded, then you'll get a notification. You can do that on Facebook if you know it or not. You can subscribe to the video feed. Please do so. Also find me on YouTube as well. Don't forget NathanIvey.com. And if you want to join the mission to amplify Black voices as a patron, go to Patreon / Nathan Ivey Show. As a matter of fact, I've got my links inside of today's description. You can click on that and you can find me wherever I am online. All right. Have an excellent rest of your day and we'll talk real soon. I'm Nathan Ivey and I'm out.
Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com /Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Senator Sister Thomas asking you to vote for Charmaine McGuffey for Sheriff of Hamilton County. As a former police officer, I know Charmaine is the only qualified candidate to be sheriff. She stands with our community and will lead with accountability. Her opponent used excessive force in the killing of an unarmed black man and led the highly controversial Vortex unit. He is the last person we need to lead our sheriff's office. Trust the judgment of someone who knows. Vote Charmaine McGuffey for sheriff, a vote for justice.
This is Charmaine McGuffey asking for your vote. Paid for by people for McGuffey for sheriff.
So many Democrats voting for Charlie Winburn. Democrat Malcolm Timmons.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he's a man that does what he says he's going to do, and he gets things done for our community.
Democrat Nettie Matthews.
Of course I'm voting for my brother Charlie Winburn because he cares about the black community.
Democrat Paul Booth.
I'm voting for my longtime friend Charlie Winburn. He will put people over party.
Democrat Zakiya Allen.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he has a positive track record in our community.
Democrat Charles Wiley.
I am voting for Charlie Winburn because he would be accountable to us.
Democrat Klein Carricker.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he helps to train hundreds of African Americans through his leadership masterclass.
Democrat Jafanya Wynn.
I'm voting for Charlie Winburn because he cares about women with children, providing child care and a school for K through 8th graders.
Democrat T. Renee.
I want to see the first African American county treasurer elected after 230 years.
Vote Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer.
Paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a fuck, that's what they don't understand.
Back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a fuck, I don't care. Did the for my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get on my God, on my totem is nothing. In the discussion, for them feelings I throw on my pain on percussion. The disgusting. I hear them bragging about that they did, and it do not move me, not in the least. They ain't been dropping no seeds in the soil, but swear that you on my spot at the feast. I've been on go mode, showboat, rowboat, wave ride. Cool shorty, too naughty, pool party, wet for the face ride. Annie up, penny down, hand me down, thrift store, old drip. New money, too funny, old shorty talking about old. I'm on they now, can't get a pass now. I'm a cash cow, keeping it brash now. It's trash now, I'ma spaz out. I've been killing my lows and living on highs. You see in the skies the proof. You could just see in my eyes that there is no lies. I cannot disguise the truth. I've been duck dog, getting in my new merch, colored duck sauce on the new couch with my chucks on. Get the on with that hate. I'm big cool on the small chat, cause I know now that I'm all that. Got a Hawkeye on the ball cat, get the out of my face.
Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head.